Good evening, chat. Hello. Welcome to the main event of the evening. Welcome to the main event of the evening. That's the best way I can describe this because, ooh, lad, this is gonna get mighty interesting. Mighty interesting. Mighty interesting, chat. So here we go. Here we go. It is gonna be good. So, this is... It's going to be funny. It's going to be funny. Why? Because it involves people that you're not going to care about. You won't like them, and you hope whatever happens to them, you're going to be like, they deserve this. And yeah, I get it. They're breadtubers that are at the business end of this. But it does bring up interesting issues. It brings up really, really good issues. What I will tell you, Chad, is I had this nice written thing out, and when you save it in YouTube, it like saved, but it wouldn't save it. So the entire description's gone. So I'll have to retype it later. But what we're dealing with is H3H3 Productions. Basically, Ethan Klein. I know he's got his wife, but it's Ethan Klein. And Ethan Klein has had an ongoing issue with Hasan Piker. You guys remember Hasan Piker? He is Cenk Uyghur's nephew and is the guy who sits there and eats on stream his chicken tendies while he hangs out with Houthi terrorists on his streams and streams with them and talks to them, and you know how they're just broskies. And Hasan is they're all socialists and progressives. You know, you can call them communists if you want to. Really, at the end of the day, doesn't really matter to me. Not gonna hurt my feelings. But yes, Hasan is the communist who somehow makes millions of dollars every year, has an electric Porsche, and lives in West Hollywood in a nice old big old house. But hey, that's not real communism, I guess. Whatever it is. So as things go for Hasan and Ethan, am I an Ethan Klein fan? Not particularly Ethan Klein fan. Watching these people fight each other, though, I am totally here for. I'm not a big fan of Ethan Klein. Certainly him and I don't agree politically. I know we don't. But watching him go after breadtubers, I am here for that fight. I'm going to sit in the back with a bowl of popcorn and just watch the fireworks. Just watch the fireworks. Yep. Let them fight. But the fact he's going after all these people, I think is fair game. What he's doing is just, and it's within the bounds of the law. So, regardless of all that, going back to it, Hasan and Ethan had a show. They got together for a while. They were doing a show called Leftovers. And it was with him and Hasan giving their takes on left things because they're both left to center. They're both Democrats. And eventually, as, October 7th happened in Israel, Ethan is Jewish. His wife, Hila, is from Israel. And that was a big deal. And Hasan very much is not a fan of Israel or of the tribe, really. He says, I don't like Zionism. It's like, who's mainly the Zionist? The Jews. I mean, just say it. And if you guys go watch the Content Nuke that Ethan Klein dropped on Hasan Piker, he makes a pretty good case that Hasan really does not like Jewish people. He really does not like Jewish people and really likes to, gargle the ball sacks of anybody who doesn't like Jewish people and is willing to kill them. So we are going to... Yeah, where's Gabe? Gabe should go after Hasan. So, as Ethan put out this thing, it was a long form video and it was very well produced. And he went after not only Hasan, but he went after the scumbags in Hasan's orbit. He's got a couple of roaches in his orbit that are other breadtubers and other scumbags. And as things went, a couple of these scumbags watched the Content Nuke. And we're going to get to why he's suing these people. He's suing them for copyright infringement. And we're going to get to why he's doing it because at this point, Ethan explains it. And I think his video, and it's only 20 minutes. We're going to bounce around a little bit. I think it's important to watch it, and then we're going to get into the lawsuit. The lawsuits are pretty good, but you know, we just, yeah. We're going to get into these because I do think that these are pretty important here. So let's get to this. Now, when Ethan does this, he brings up a lot of good points about how a lawsuit works here. Now, how does this go? Well, this is Ethan saying, I'm suing these 3 creators. That's from 2 days ago with 1 million views. That's a... If only I could get numbers like that. Anyways, here we go.
Hi there. My name is Ethan Klein, and my favorite hobby is spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on lawyers. Today, I invite you into my home to...
Now, here's the thing. Ethan Klein is actually making it's a joke, but it's a very poignant fact. When you engage in suing people, especially something like this where he's paying for his lawyers, when you guys generally engage in civil litigation, you're shoving all your money into a pile in the middle of a table, and you're lighting it on fire. Just whoosh. And you hope you get it back. You might get some of it back. You might get all of it back. You might get none of it back. You might go to court and deal with this person for whatever wrong you faced. And the court or the jury might say, you know what, Sean, you were 100% right. We award you $1 for your troubles. So you may have spent $100,000 just to get $1 back. You might not get attorney's fees. You might not get anything. So doing this, and Ethan has the money. When you're filing lawsuits and litigation like this, you need to be prepared you're going to lose your money, and you need to be able to sustain losing that money, whether or not you're personally wealthy or you could fundraise it. If you can do either or, then by all means, you know, that's an acceptable risk. But for regular people, you can't afford to like take out a mortgage on your house to go sue somebody. That's generally not going to be a good idea. But watching him do this guy's got money he could afford to burn. And no, lighting money on fire will not get, it's not like the feds are not coming to kick down your door. Like, it's a crime to deface money. Like, no, nobody cares. No one's going to care. So here we go, though.
Share my favorite pastime with you. Join me in creating generational wealth for my attorney. Let me tell you guys a story. About 1.5 years ago, it's a big conversation called ReactGate. ReactGate was a debate going on in the streaming community about what constituted fair use. People like Hasan, XQC, and many of the large Twitch streamers would watch other creators.
Now, that is the thing. Hasan, XQC, Asmongold, a lot of these people on Twitch, they go for hours and hours and hours on end, and they just watch videos in their entirety and kind of react to them. What a common thing is, people like Hasan and some of these other people, they'll watch a video and go, wow, that's crazy. They don't really do anything. They aren't pausing and breaking it down. They aren't truly doing it, but Twitch doesn't stop them. So that's what he's starting to get into here.
Entire video on their stream. They would rarely add sufficient commentary or even pause the video to speak. Most egregiously, they would re-upload the entire VOD to YouTube with the same thumbnail, the same title, so that they could cannibalize traffic from the original video. Here's what Lamino had to say about this.
You could almost say they're trying to substitute
phenomenon.
I don't mind people reacting to my videos, but I do mind when they play the entirety of my video. A face cam in the corner or the occasional interruption does nothing to address that issue. My video is still being played from beginning to end in someone else's stream or video. It's neither ethical nor necessary to feature the entirety of someone else's work. Or, you know, they could do the bare minimum and ask for permission. Something that none of the major reaction channels have ever done when they've streamed or re-uploaded my videos. But to answer your question, no, I don't want people to stream or re-upload the entirety of my videos.
Now, understandably, this made a lot of people angry, because why should these content thieves essentially get more views than the author of the video, which in a lot of cases was happening? I mean, people don't like injustice, and we all see this, and no, it's not right. This debate culminated when XQC, one of the prime suspects, called into my show to debate me in which case I'm sad to report that I was terribly owned. So in that regard, do you care?
And this is the thing, Ethan Klein has, you know, his show and he broadcasts and people call in. He has all kinds of stuff like this. So this is the thing he does. And this is great. Because I remember watching the clip of this when it happened.
At all about like IP or copyright, or like the fact that it's illegal? Does that matter? That it might be illegal, does that matter to you?
No.
It doesn't matter.
Well, if flat out doesn't, because
But that's fair.
Watch me full screen cam. Do the
Also, Chad, if you don't know who XQC is one of the largest streamers on Twitch, and he does all this shit that Ethan Klein's talking about.
fucking worm and watch your
Do
prime.
that.
Then watch
Bro,
your prime
do
content.
it for a week. Do a week of no reaction content and see how many fucking views you get. Oh, okay, sure. I mean, that's content, man. It's original content, at least. The ultimate debate, bro. He hit him with the worm. Oh, why didn't I think of that first? I kid XQC, but he is not the one I'm suing. Despite my criticism, he's not a malicious infringer. But the ones I am suing, you'll see, are much, much worse. Now, ironically, after this debate and in the wake of this large conversation, the problem seems to have only gotten worse. You have people like Hasan Piker paving the way of fair use with what's known as chair reacts, when Hasan gets up to go to the bathroom or to eat or to talk to his mom or to do whatever, disappears for an extended period of time and leaves the video playing for his chair. Mr. Chair, they call it.
IDF had warned people.
So this is Hasan Piker, guys. You know, he's 33 years old and has a 17-year-old haircut. The Reaper comes for us all, Hasan, including you. The Reaper is coming. The Norwood Reaper is coming for your hairline. Accept the reality, sir. Accept the reality. And we're going to get to who everybody he's suing here, but he's just laying it out. And Hasan will do this. Hasan's also actually notorious for watching like MasterChef episodes and just streaming them, and nobody stops him because he's like one of the biggest guys on Twitch. Yes, he's bald. It's a rug. But Hasan does the chair stream very well. He's a professional at it.
To leave the area around the main airport in Sana, then this.
Now, to be fair, I do get up, like I'll go to the bathroom or I'm here doing stuff. I may turn off the camera. But this guy does it all the time. He's disappeared for over an hour before doing this. And he streams for like 6, 7 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours.
This operation will result in killing hostages in captivity. Will result in the death of those who have
We're a community.
And it was in this setting that I formulated an idea. What if I could make a long-form, irresistible piece of content that I knew that these streamers couldn't resist? They couldn't avoid the temptation of watching it the second it was published.
I don't have an issue with them.
It's not that I wanted these people to steal my video.
And this is the Content Nuke. It's been months ago. You know, he's got millions of views on this. Burning up Hasan. And he set a trap. And there's nothing illegal about setting a trap.
It's that I knew they would. I knew they would watch the entire video, add little to no commentary, react to it instantly, giving them no time to form an opinion. The trap was set, and it worked even better than I imagined it would. We captured pretty much every large streamer reacting to it in its entirety immediately after it was published. Now, the thing is, there were a few people that went above and beyond to commit copyright infringement. For example, Denims sits here silently.
Now, guys, Denims, you guys, if we talked about the Destiny stuff, she is one of the Destiny orbiters, was a Destiny orbiter. I don't know if they still are. Who knows? Whatever. She's a toolbox. And she's also part of the people who supported what happened to Ethan Klein and his wife. Children's Services was called on them. Like people that hate Ethan Klein have really done a lot of shitbag things. And Denims is part of that and supports it. You know, it's not clear she was involved in it, but she certainly didn't be like, you guys shouldn't do that. It's not nice. But as we go, though, here's Denims.
With nearly 50,000 live viewers. That's 30 times her regular viewership. She's working directly with the Snark subreddit moderators to siphon views, and their intentions couldn't be.
And H3 Snark is the subreddit that basically A-logs the shit out of Ethan Klein and his wife. So that's what we're doing here. So if you guys notice this real quick, here's the thing. We've seen a lot of comments about wanting to watch the nuke without showing support to Ethan. Several creators have mentioned they're planning to stream the reactions or post reaction videos in the coming days. And here's a bunch of people. Kaycetron, Denims, Frogan. Notice we're going to use focus on these three names. Focus on these three names.
Clearer. Here's an excerpt from a stickied post from the Snark subreddit. Hey everyone, we've seen a lot of comments about wanting to watch the nuke without showing support for H3. Here's a list of creators who've supported our sub, either by engaging with us directly or citing our post in their critique of H3. Here they're offering these streamers as market substitutes for my work. This is the cardinal sin of copyright infringement. The Snark subreddit has been a frequent and persistent infringer. That's how I knew when this video came out, the Snarkers were going to encourage, promote, and push streamers to commit copyright infringement. I should thank the Snarkers, actually. Because of their predictability, they acted like double agents for us, incriminating their favorite streamers and serving them up on a golden platter. So, thank you, Snark. It's one thing for a subreddit to admit it's engaging in copyright infringement, but how do you get the streamers themselves to admit that they're stealing content?
Well, guys, if you enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video, follow, subscribe, throw a prime. If you like the content, if you enjoyed your time here.
Just so you clarify, you might say, wow, Denims, that's Denims, and she admitted to it. Yes, well, Denims is an OnlyFans performer too, so yes, she's dumb and she's a whore. So yes, she's a dumb whore. Dumb whores do dumb whore things. And yes, as she's doing this...
Nigga, is you taking notes on a criminal fucking conspiracy? What the fuck is you thinking, man?
Yep, just admitting you're breaking the fucking law. Always in cash, never in writing, chat. Always in cash, never in writing.
Turns out they just do it for you. You couldn't cook up a more incriminating statement if you tried. Denims, the queen of self-owning, you prevail again. There's one thing about copyright you should know is that you got to register it before you publish to be eligible for statutory damages and attorney's fees, which is the main biting force of a copyright infringement lawsuit. Well, I'm happy to tell you guys now, I, Ethan Klein, have registered Hasan Piker Content Nuke with the United States Library of Congress. Some of you guys out there sweating? Even though theoretically I could sue a lot more creators and rake in millions of dollars, but the purpose of this is not financial gain. People like XQC and Asmongold may have watched the entire thing, but I would never sue them just for doing that. I don't want to chill the reaction community into fear. Actually, the opposite. I hope that
I mean, if you were to succeed, you probably would chill the community and the reaction community. But I'm also not going to lie. They literally, like, you know, oh, fucking well. I mean, that's why you generate your own content. Like moi. I generate my own content.
we can all unite against this type of egregious behavior that not only makes us all look bad, but could destroy the commentary community as we know it.
Well, guys, if you enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video, follow, subscribe, throw a prime.
The state of reaction content on Twitch is so broken, these creators feel comfortable looking right into a camera and saying outright, hey, I'm stealing this guy's content. Pay me instead of him. This is not a healthy environment. And with people like Hasan reacting to entire TV shows on stream, my fear is that Sony or Disney comes along, sues everybody, and sets a devastating precedent that could endanger our entire field. Now,
oh no, that would be so bad if all the fucking React content got nuked. Oh no, I don't know if I could bear that. That would be so awful, chat. Wouldn't you be so upset if that happened? I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do. It would just be so dangerous. It's so sad. It's so sad. You know, you can also, you know, and watch it on the web. How you doing, buddy? There's plenty of reactors that found ways to do the reaction content. Like, I'm kind of reacting to Ethan Klein right now. You can talk in the middle of it. You don't have to be a lazy fucking cocksucker. You, like, actually talk and react. Add content to it. And Doll Life Dan, also watcher, how you doing, man? I don't want Ethan to win. I just want Breadtube to lose. And you know what? Yeah. If Ethan Klein's going to go in there and make Denims and Frogan and Kaycetron suffer, I'm all here for it. I am all here for it. I am all here for it. Ethan Klein's looking great. I don't know why you guys are saying shit to him. I'd like to look like him at some point. Well, not like that skinny, but I need to get on that. So anyways, here we go.
Before I tell you who the 3 people I'm suing are, I just want to make it clear that they all met this very specific high bar of criteria that I set forth earlier. These people were not targeted based on their gender, their identity, their political beliefs. All 3 are on this list. In fact, they're the
I mean, but it doesn't hurt that these people tried to harass you and your wife and your family and your kids and fuck with you and support people that fuck with you. I mean, like, let's be real. That didn't hurt things at all. Like, on top of, they're all stupid, retarded whores who fuck themselves by talking about their crimes. I mean, certainly, it doesn't hurt that these people tried to fuck with your family. I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I fully support you going after these people for fucking with your family, because that's bullshit, regardless of who you are. These people, you know, the H3 snark, somebody called in children's services. Now, we're going to get to why I think discovery is going to be really important, but I think Ethan Klein has ulterior motives for discovery besides just the copyright case. We'll get to that.
the only 3, as far as I could tell, that reacted to the full video. Drum roll, please. Who's sweating at home, guys? Kaycetron, the queen of ripping farts and bong loads.
They do musicals. They're very musical people. I know. Are you being serious? Dog, what do you look? You think I made this?
Frogan, who, bless her soul, she's still rising.
Can I walk away and use the bathroom? Do I have permission? Can I use the bathroom, please? I'll leave it playing.
Apparently thinks Twitch is liable for me interviewing a Yemeni teenager who's only known genocide his entire life.
What happened?
And Denims, the queen of self-owning. And my God, is she the queen of that?
It's very obvious from the way that guy's talking, he's a Sneeko fan.
Oh my God, bro. I love you. Can I give you a hug, bro?
I'm so sweaty, bro.
I love you, bro.
None of the hostages that have been released so far have said that they have been raped. The hostages have public statements. You can go look at them.
The sexual assault I experienced should never happen to any human being.
This Yemeni kid is just a Yemeni kid with a gun and is not a Houthi, and there is no proof of him being a Houthi.
Are you a soldier? Yes. That seems pretty definitive.
He never said Hasan Nasrallah was a good guy.
I can't believe I'm calling Nasrallah base. I mean, listen.
Now for the fun.
Hassan Nasrallah, guys, was the head of Hezbollah. Yes, Hassan just said that guy was based. Not ironically, like totally 100% serious. Like I said, there isn't a terrorist ball sack he wouldn't mind washing. But anyways, those are the 3 of them. And they've admitted to going out and doing this stuff. And, you know, from here, he kind of lays it out. They've admitted to it. And this becomes a problem. Jim says, I don't know these people. You're better off not knowing who they are. They're a bunch of loser communists. So it's okay. It's okay with who they are. You don't have to know. You don't have to know who they are. But is Hassan Nasrallah dead? Yes. The Israelis put a couple of bunker busters up his asshole. So he's now a good terrorist. He's a dead terrorist. So yes. So that is what happened there. So in response to all of this, Ethan Klein filed a couple of lawsuits. Now, we're going to start off with this one. There's one against Denims. There's one against Frogan that we're going to look at real quick here. Maddie, I did see your content there. I'll take a look at that in a bit. But yes, I'm not. These people are disgusting, so I'm all for Ethan going after him. Now, this is a jury trial complaint out of the Central District of California, chat. Remember, we're in federal court. It's a copyright case. So we're in federal court. Like, this is for reals. And I know some people on Twitter and other places were saying, like, well, can't you do an anti-slap and stuff? No. No. There is no anti-slap defense to a copyright lawsuit. Anti-slap is like for state-level torts. Copyright infringement is a federal action. There is no anti-slap defense you can use. You got fair use, or you have, like, they don't have a copyright, and that's it. You don't have a whole lot of options. So people are bringing it up. Fair use does not apply here. Fair use, that's like that's like using Chuck E. Cheese bucks at Caesar's Palace. It's not going to work. Doesn't work. Not the right area. Not the right place. The Central District of the Central District of California. And why is that important? Well, that's where Ethan lives, in LA. Remember, chat, Southern District is San Diego, Central is LA, Eastern's out in the desert, and the North is up in San Francisco. So there's 4 districts of California. There's no Western District of California. It's a little weird. It's weird, but that's how they did it. So it's TED Entertainment, Ethan's company, versus Morgan Kamal Majid, person known as Frogan, an individual in does 1 through 10. Now, this is how you start it off. This is fucking hilarious. Frogan reacting by exiting. It says, time to watch new ethically. Hell yeah. Thank you guys so much. I do appreciate everyone's support, and thank you for watching it with me. Frogan prior to watching Content Nuke, Hasan Piker. It says, I came from the H3 Snark Reddit. I found my way from Reddit. Frogan was reading all the comments of people saying, oh, I came here from the Reddit that was posted. And she says, can I use the bathroom, please? I'll leave it playing. Now, this is where we go, chat. This is where we go. This lawsuit's about ending the practice of lazy reaction videos that copy entire copyrighted works. And they point out that 7 years ago, the owners of Plaintiff Ted Entertainment, Ethan and Hila, they established a legal standard for fair use reaction videos in, I forget how you pronounce this, the Hasan v. Kline case. And this is out of the Southern District of New York. If you guys look at my notice in my description, it's a critical fair use case. It's a very important fair use case. Ethan Klein got sued and they had to defend themselves. It was a big, big deal. It was a big deal how this went. And hold on here. Let me see. Yes, this case and Sargon's case are a big deal. And guys, we'll get to why Sargon's case has nothing to do with this. It's not even remotely the same. If they had done what Sargon did, they would have no case here. So, I'm the biggest deal. Of course I am. Did Ethan win? Yes, Ethan won. They won the case. They won the case. They basically saved the fair use and reaction videos. And they say, as a genre, reaction videos vary widely in terms of purpose, structure, and extent. Reaction videos like the Kline video that intersperse short segments of another work with criticism and commentary constitute fair use. In contrast, reaction videos that are more akin to a group viewing session do not. This case involves the group session hosted by Frogan. Frogan specifically intended her group to siphon the maximum number of views and revenue away from the copyrighted work about the nuke, the content nuke. And she achieved her objective by releasing the group viewing session of the nuke immediately after the release and showing its entirety. She profited from the viewing session. And because she's on Twitch, she gets all that Twitch money. The moderators of the H3 Snark subreddit, which are, one again, the A-logs for Ethan and Hila, Knew the group viewing session would serve as a substitute, and as such, they successfully promoted the group viewing session. Like most laser reaction videos, Frogan's suffers from a poverty of critical commentary. Well, she's retarded anyway. Remember, she's the one who said she hopes all the soldiers get PTSD, and she's like, based. And then when everybody went after her, she's like, nah, not what I said. It's like, fuck you. Fuck you, you bitch. Everybody went after her and she lied. So, most frequently, Frogan plays long, unadulterated portions of the nuke to reviewers. In the majority, she doesn't even pay attention to the nuke and instead is on her phone. Frogan even performs an empty chair reaction, pulling a Hasan, whenever she goes off camera for several minutes while it kept playing. On the few occasions she does speak, it's to provide repetitive statements on her favorite subject, not the plight of the Palestinians. And yeah, she's like, the poor Palestinians, boo, boo, boo. But herself, because she's in it. Ethan tears her a new asshole too, which she deserves. Other times she provides short surface level observations that aren't new information, aesthetics, or insights. The vast majority of these observations have no critical bearing on style or substance. Rather, the commentary consists of repetitive and ad hominem attacks on Ethan without any reference to the nuke itself. Yeah, but I think just the fact it's an ad hominem against Ethan, I mean, you could say he's a retard, he's a retard, he's a retard, he's a retard, this is garbage. I think that's fair enough, because if she's retarded, that's the best she can intellectually put together. I mean, Frogan's like a fucking... I mean, if you ever watch her stream, she's like 90... She's hovered around the 90s. You know what I mean? In the IQ world. So the unauthorized commercial exploitation of nuke is quintessential copyright infringement. Using copyrighted content to get attention and avoid the drudgery and working up something fresh. And guys, Campbell versus Acuff Rose, this is a big copyright case from the Supreme Court. This lawsuit is a holder accountable for the nuke and for their contributory infringement. Now, see, that's where you get to the contributory infringement thing. This is kind of where we have like a Russell Greer and the Breadtube are kind of, the streams are crossing. Because remember, contributory copyright infringement isn't really a thing. But in the 10th Circuit, it kind of is. So, like I said, things are starting to blend and get together here. So, as they're touching tips with Russell, guys. This is the scary thing here. This is the scary thing. So the jurisdiction, this is under the Copyright Act, so it's in federal court. It's where it should be. This court is federal jurisdiction question because it's a federal case. It's a federal issue. It's federal jurisdiction. So we don't have to worry about diversity jurisdiction. We don't have to worry about amounts of controversy. We don't have to worry about those two things because it's a federal issue. So you can sue people in the same district. There's no issue about diversity. You could sue them, and you could sue them for $50. Obviously, you do a lot more. But there's no issue about the amounts of controversy. There's no issue about diversity jurisdiction. The venue is proper because a substantial part of the acts and omissions giving rise, the claims occurred in this district. Now, see, this is where I think there's a bit of a difference. From what I understand, a proper copyright infringement claim, you should do it where they did the infringement. So he needs to go. I think there's probably going to be an issue of you should be suing Frogan where she lives and Denims and Kaycetron where they live. I don't think Frogan lives in LA, so that's a bit of an issue. So TEI is in LA, and that makes sense. Ethan lives in LA. Oh, Frogan does live in LA? I forgot. Oh, shit. I read this earlier. I thought she lives in Detroit, but she lives in LA. There you go. We're all set. Can't believe I freaking misread that earlier. So, Twitch is in the Southern District. It doesn't matter about Twitch. Twitch is not being sued. Now, Bella, you know what? We'll get to this right now. Ethan, if you're out there, I think I know part of your game plan is using Discovery of Frogan and Denims and Kaycetron to get access to phone calls and text messages of who are you talking to about this? How did you guys set up your contributory copyright infringement? Oh, really? Oh, you guys are talking about these people and and your text. Oh, you guys are setting up the CPS call. I think Ethan is trying to burn them down for being pieces of shit. But he's got an ulterior motive of using this as a springboard for Discovery to collect scalps and go after the people who went after him and his family. So I think there's a lot more going on. This is just step one. This is what you would call a shaping operation. They are trying to shape the battlefield. This is like step one of the battle. And then step two is to do something else that eventually they're going to get that information on. It's going to be very interesting in that. So it's a shaping operation. You're trying to you're damaging the enemy's ability right now, and then it's going to allow you later to do more because now your enemy's degraded in capability. So that's very much what's going on there. So kind of like with what happened in Syria, the Israelis went in and attacked every bit of equipment that they could. So Syria no longer has any air defense capability, and the Iranians suffered a lot. They went and killed the leader of Hezbollah. They went and then severely degraded Hamas's capability. Because if you notice, since all this has happened, there is no rocket attack from Hamas because Hamas has been degraded. That's a shaping operation because now Israel could turn around and start fighting Iran and launching airstrikes. And now they don't have to worry about their rear area. So once again, it's called a shaping operation. You're preparing the battlefield to do something else. So he's going to use this to then go after people. And it's perfectly legitimate. I think that's his plan. When I first saw this, I'm like, Discovery is going to be multi-use. And Bella, I think you're thinking the same way I'm thinking. Mike says the U.S. has bombed the 3 different nuclear sites. Oh, shit. Well, I mean, I kind of thought we all knew that was going to happen at some point here. So we'll take a look at that later, chat. So, yes, it's called strategy. Yes, but it's a shaping operation. You're doing a lawsuit to force other things to happen. So it's pretty smart. I mean, he's smart, but it only helps that his opponents like Denims and Frogan and Kaycetron and Hasan are literally fucking retarded. They are retarded. Like when you're at like an IQ of 100 and your opponents are at 90, you may as well be like fucking Einstein dealing with Neanderthals. Now Ethan's smarter than that. Ethan probably got a well over 100 IQ. But I'm just saying the idea is, you know, if there's a 30-point IQ difference, you're never going to be able to catch up. So that is where we are. These bitches ain't smart. That's why they're dumb bitches. The snark mods are Does 1 through 10. The true names are not known, but they're going to get found out because there will be discovery. And once it's ascertained, we're going to do it. Doe number 1's the female founder of H3 Smark and has the username Ozempic Dealer, and that's because they went after Ethan Klein using Ozempic. She also uses the Discord handle Yogi Bear X. Doe number 2 is female and resides in Canada. And uses that the H3 Snark mod team. They go through a bunch of different names this person uses on Discords. So the guys, they've got Ethan's got Discord data, and they're going to be looking for stuff. Doe number 3 is another Snark moderator. So it uses the username Sarah Horn Jewett, and which she subsequently deleted. There's another one. There's another, like each one of these, they go through 7 through 10 are the remaining mods. So there you go, guys. There you go. Like there are a lot of people going to get fucked up. It's all about the discovery. It's all about the discovery here. But yes, imagine being Canadian. Sneaky tribesmen. Well, they are known for their tact and cunning and their tradecraft. This is the equivalent of sending these bitches pagers. That Content Nuke was a pager, and they fucking sat there playing with it all day long till it went off. So TEI was founded by Ethan and Gila. They rose to prominence on their two channels, H3H3 Productions and Ethan and Gila. They did a lot of like in life blogging and stuff. As stuff happened there, but then they moved mainly into H3H3. So, but they did do quite a bit. These guys were fucking huge. They were the king shit for quite a while. So they did highly stylized reaction videos. Ethan actually was funny and did comedy and stuff for a while. And they did a lot of commentary videos as the cases are involved there. In 2016, they were sued for copyright infringement by a guy named Matt Haas, the bold guy. And it concerned a reaction to an uploaded video to their channel. And the video says the big, the bold, and the beautiful. And that's what Ethan did, was a critical success and a humorous reaction to Matt's video, Bull Guide versus Parkour video. And as the court explained, the video opens with commentary and discussion between Ethan and Gila, followed by segments of the Haas video, which they play, stop, and continue to comment on and criticize. The video, which is almost 14 minutes long, intersperses relatively short segments of the video with long segments of Ethan and Gila talking and commentary, using 3 minutes and 15 seconds of the 5-minute, 24-second long Haas video. The Klein video is harshly critical of Haas and includes mockery of Matt's performance and what Ethan considers unrealistic dialogue and plot lines. In addition, their commentary refers to Haas as a quasi-pornographic and reminiscent of a cringe tube genre video, known for the cringe-worthy sexual content. As critical as it is, the video is roughly equivalent to the kind of commentary and criticism of a creative work that might occur in a film studies class. And that's why Ethan won. If you guys have never seen the video, they fucking tore it apart. It's actually pretty good. So the court got summary judgment for Ethan on all of the claims. For the copyright infringement, they found the video was fair use. So they established the H3 podcast. They did episodes that were kind of just free form, and they did, Ethan kind of did a Joe Rogan thing. To ensure any of the unlicensed content qualified as fair use, they refined the best practices based on the principles, which were, whenever feasible, pre-screen the work and outline the criticism and commentary before the broadcast. Yeah, I don't think you have to, but it's not a bad idea. If you're out there doing this in chat. Also, Ethan, if you're out there and you'd love to come on the show, I'd love to have you on and you want to talk. I don't know if you would. Or I can come on. I'm fine with either. Probably never going to happen, but why not? Destiny knows who I am at this point, so let's shoot the shot. You ensure the commentary was directly related to the style and or substance of the work. You only broadcast the portion of the original work that would be subject to critique. You pause it frequently to provide critique or comments, ensuring the duration of the commentary was substantially longer than the portion of the original work shown before the commentary. And I love this. It's Frogan, then it's a bunch of shit in Arabic. I don't even know what that says, but this is hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. I don't know what it means. I didn't try to get it done. So if you guys know what it means, tell me. They say Frogan began streaming in 2019 on a regular basis. Her career peaked in August 2022 when she averaged 738 viewers a stream, which that's a lot for Twitch. That's a lot for Twitch. But this is so shitty. Ever since she has steadily lost popularity in 2025, Frogan averaged 160 viewers a stream. She holds herself as an expert. Her expertise, however, has yet to reveal itself. Yes, this is so brutal. This is so brutal, but it's neat how much of an asshole you can be. Yes. This is She claims to be a public health expert, yet she admits her academic and professional career was stunted by her lack of self-discipline. Accordingly, her academic advisor conducted an intervention to ensure she would complete her master's degree. Frogan also admitted to abandoning her brief career in public health after her boss wanted to discuss her performance with the manager of her department. She frequently portrays herself as a victim, particularly to cast herself as a Muslim woman persecuted by the Zionists. The inconsistencies in her involving narratives, however, reveal she's not a victim, and they demonstrate it. They talk about getting failed. So she talks about how her professor gave her she wrote on Twitter that they gave her a D on her paper about the Arab-Israeli conflict when she was the only hijabi in class. Nearly a year later, the story changed to make the professor worse. And they said she gave an F because she said, what about Israel was wrong? Several years later, the story is mutated. She posted the professor assigned her the only Arab in the class to do a project on the conflict and failed her when she talked about how Palestine is occupied by Israel. I don't really fucking care anymore. Suffer. Figure it out on your own. It's not my war. In this instance, Frogan provided a screenshot summarized into 2 slides for this paper project, one of which contains a glaring inaccuracy that Frogan admits was wrong. In the slide, she claimed there were over 400 million Palestinians living in refugee camps in occupied territories in other Arab states. According to UNRWA, who basically does the bidding of the Palestinians, there are only 1.5 million Palestinians living in refugee camps. This glimpse in the paper is obviously inaccuracy, reveals why she received a low grade. Her paper was wrong because it contained inaccuracies. Instead, Frogan painted herself the victim of a bad professor and promulgated the narrative, Israel's not occupying Gaza and the West Bank. And she had her Zionist therapist. These are so funny. She went to therapy for the first time after talking about her dad feeling the Israel-Lebanon war. And she was taken aback when her therapist responded with, I'm Israeli. Do you have any issues with me being your therapist? As a self-described expert, Frogan should have realized the therapist was adhering to counseling codes of ethics. It's just true. This is a funny part here when you guys read this one, though. So she was on a stream watching Benjamin Netanyahu reference the Druze. The Druze are people in Lebanon. The Druze are a religious sect. And I think they technically qualify as an ethnic group. They are not Muslims, but they, have the Arabic language, and it's an Abrahamic kind of offshoot of things. But anyways, she's like, who the fuck are, before being cut off because explaining who they are. And it's funny because her dad came from Lebanon, and it's like, well, you don't fucking know? She's a tard. So several years later, her therapist story changed. She had a bad experience with a Zionist therapist. And this is her, and it's like, really, I'm surprised there isn't a Muslim guy who's throwing a rock at you for makeup and being mouthy on the internet. I thought they kind of hated that shit. So anyway, she keeps on going. Prior to October 7th, she was an effusive fan of Ethan in the podcast series. And this is Leftovers, what I told you guys about, when he was there with Hasan. And her social media activity demonstrated her support for Hamas and her endorsement of blood libel conspiracy theories. And it says, as soon as it happened, Frogan posted, leftists preach and foam about the revolution. But as soon as it happens in the Middle East, what they're doing is wrong. Due to the insensitivity and timing, Ethan quietly unfollowed Frogan. Shortly thereafter, she liked a post by Boy that was posted, which said, it's game over for Israel. James Bond is officially fighting for Hamas. And this is, guys, remember, this is October 7th, where they used the hang gliders and the things that they showed up in the middle of the concert and attacked and really overran and basically had 100 killer teams running wild through the streets in the border areas. They killed a shitload of people. October 11th, she made a bunch of things saying, that feeling when one of your favorite creators unfollows you for being pro-Palestine. And then she went to the Discord and pleaded with Ethan to refollow her. She then also reported that the Israelis have bombed a hospital. And she said that Israel admitted to harvesting skin and organs from dead Palestinians for skin grafts and organ transplants. The majority of the skin in Israeli skin banks is stolen from Palestinians they killed. It's like, I don't think those people would be kosher. I don't know why you'd want that. So, I think it's kind of aren't they big on having you need Jewish skin or something like that? I don't really know. Reports of 3 sites hit in Iran. Jesus. I really hope we're not nation building. I hope it stops here. So. Afex says Klein actually used blood libel in his legal document. Yeah, man, Frogan signed out. Okay, well, really, like, let's be for real. Like, when your attorney is, this is your attorney's name, like, do you really think they're not going to have blood libel in there? Do you really think, like, I mean, like, that's about as Jewish as you can get for a name? I'm just saying. And you're saying I would dismiss, if you're reading between the lines. Why? He's just pointing out how big a piece of shit she is. That still doesn't, we haven't gotten to the copyright infringement yet. So, anyways, Frogan's a big piece of shit. She's a dumb retard. So, she keeps going. She sucks Hamas dick. She's one of the moderators of Hasan's chat, far from being neutral. For example, in November, Hasan and Ethan discussed the Israel-Palestine conflict. Hasan's chat was hateful, and Frogan refused to moderate out of vindictiveness. So you get to H3 Snark, and guys, the Denims thing is going to be very similar in a lot of spots, so we'll be able to skip through things. H3 Snark is a subreddit for fallen fans of a particular entertainer. Over time, they've done numerous subreddits regarding the podcast of the Klines. Many were banned by Reddit for violating its content policy, such as Frenemies and Frenemies 2. H3 Snark was created on August 30th by Doe Number 1, who was a fanatical Trisha fan and become a fallen fan when the series Frenemies, co-hosted by Ethan and Trisha, ended abruptly. Snark became a haven for the fallen fans. While the average viewer would move in with their lives, the fallen fans religiously watched the content with orgastic hatred. Beginning in 2023, H3 Snark experienced a surge of new users who were fallen fans of the Leftover series. And as the attacks happened, Hasan and Ethan quit doing their show. As mentioned, the show is hosted by Ethan and Hasan. They debated various things like China and Taiwan, and Hasan would suck China's dick because he can't stop sucking a dick if you're an Islamic terrorist or you're a hardcore communist. If you tell him you're a communist, he'll be like hitting the floor for you. The propriety of China's subjugation of Tibet, the Uyghurs, and Ethan pushed back on the China positions. And, people took offense to that because they thought Ethan was critiquing them personally. And then as the October 7th attacks happened, there was a new surge of Snark users. And it's because Ethan and Hila are dual Israeli-American citizens. Hila is born and raised in Israel, and she served as a secretary, allegedly, during her mandatory conscription in the Israeli Defense Forces. Depending on who you ask, she was involved in doing genocide. But I think she really was a secretary, but there are some pretty fucked up memes of her out there. Well, both Ethan and Hila are highly supportive of the Palestinian self-determination, extremely critical of the Israeli government. The Kline support a two-state solution as the best interim solution. Well, if there's only one of you has to win, there is no two-state solution. In the wake of the attacks, Hasan emerged as the moderate incarnation of the Grand Mufti Haj Amin al-Husseini. If you guys don't know who that is, we'll get to that. Like al-Husseini, Hasan became a passionate advocate, highly charismatic leader of the Palestinian cause. And guys, al-Husseini is basically, he was the link between the Arab world and the Nazis. He tried to raise Muslim SS divisions and units. And was going to help when the Germans defeated the British in Egypt, would then assist as they then took over the Levant in the Middle East. So, yeah. This is all ridiculous. This is all ridiculous as this is going here. So, this is all pretty good, chat. This is all pretty good. So, the primary difference between Hasan and al-Husseini is that al-Husseini worked with the Nazis and advocated the annihilation of Jews, while Hasan advocates the annihilation of all Zionists. Well, is that really a distinction without a difference? I mean, Since the vast majority of the Jews in the United States say caring about Israel is essential or important, this would include the vast majority of Jews, even if they support the Palestinian cause. And here is al-Husseini, meaning Adolf Hitler. Like I said, he was trying to raise SS divisions. He worked with his friend Heinrich Himmler to raise Muslim SS divisions. As al-Husseini said, kill the Jews wherever you find them. This pleases God, history, and religion. This saves your honor. God is with you. So, a week after the attacks, the last episode of Leftovers aired, it was Ethan and Hasan talking about the conflict. During the discussion, Ethan expressed his support to the Palestinian cause and empathy for their suffering, along with condemning Benjamin Netanyahu. At the same time, Ethan attempted to humanize the victims to Hasan in the hope that he would do it. Hasan was unpersuaded. And then we get to the rampant infringement of H3 Snark. So despite their hatred, they had an insatiable appetite for the content. And it's true. They hate watch the shit about these guys. Trump just tweeted about the bombings. Well, we'll get to that, chat. As a result, it became a locus of the copyright infringement. And they said the mods employed to consume the content was to share links to YouTube, a website that provides unauthorized access to YouTube videos and publicly performs them, which constitutes copyright infringement. YouTube had particular appeal to Snark mods because they could do whatever they wanted there. The Snark mods conducted live chats during the live broadcast. During the live chat, Snark would spam the chat with YouTube links to the broadcast. Once the stream ended, Snark mods concealed the evidence of their infringement by deleting the live chat logs. Below were true and correct screenshots of the mods spamming live chat with links to the copyrighted content. And this is here. And they've been preparing. This has been going on for a while now. So they've just been getting ready for this. They've been getting ready for this. Also, you guys are worried. 60 pages. We're getting through this quick. Cat's name is Karen. Hi, Sean. Hey. Netanyahu? Yep. Yep, Netanyahu. So they use the YouTube as an alternative. So what do they do? Well, eventually in August, these users created the post. For those who wonder why snarkers watch moments like the second button failure. And this is a true and correct screenshot of doe number 3. It says, we encourage folks to watch on YouTube. It says it doesn't play ads or contribute to view count. So you're substituting something people would watch. And remember, you might say, well, wait, Sean. They're not Ethan's fans. Remember, they're admitting they hate watch. So if you're hate watching, you would have gone to Ethan if there was no other way to watch it. So this causes problems. This is causing problems. And here's the comment. We encourage folks to do this. Put your shit in writing as always, you fucking idiots. Below is a true and correct screenshot of the link to the content court for Jack Doherty. And as can be noted, the comment has been wiped from the August post. They say, watch on YouTube. And it's Sarah Horn doing that. And under the Snark wiki page for tooltips, they also instruct users on how to create clips of content so they can be posted on the Snark. At one point, they even instructed users how to download members-only content so they can be there. To hide their inducement of copyright infringement, they deleted the portion on downloading members-only, and they did find it, though. How do you download YouTube members-only stuff? Once again, put your shit in writing. God damn, guys. Oh, Trump's going to address the nation at 10? I guess we'll take a look at that then. We'll be there for it. We can get this done in 2 hours. So, what do? Well, they issue takedown notices. So, to fight back, they issued DMCA takedowns. And TEI was surgical, like the beepers, who would be subject to the takedowns. They took takedowns only for the posted comments that uploaded an entire episode to Reddit or the paywalled content, comments that provided the YouTube links, posts that contain a clip with a descriptive non-critical title, and the comments were locked by the Snark mods. So they did the first one in August. This has been ongoing. This isn't just something they did. This has been going for a while now. This has been set. Ethan and his attorneys planned this shit out for a while. it looks like. So they went for a DMCA takedown over the H3 live show behind the scenes because it was members only. They did another takedown in August for the mega thread of the H3 show because it contained a link to the Jack Doherty show they did. And notice that Reddit honored these takedowns, but here's what they're citing. They're citing in-ray DMCA subpoena to Reddit out of the Northern District of California. Chat, these guys have been working hard. And they talk about the most pertinent fair use decisions out of Hughes v. Benjamin. That's Sargon of Akkad, Carl Benjamin versus Akilah Hughes. And that was the case where he chopped. And here's the thing we need to cover right now. What did Sargon do? Akilah Hughes made a video going to Hillary Clinton's thing. And it said, I thought she would win. And she's like, oh my God, what happened? Sargon took the video, chopped it all up, and made her seem like the most self-aloof retard ever, and basically made a whole new story with it. He re-edited the video in a way that the clips make her look like a dumb fuck. That was transformative. That was fair use. So that's the difference between what these guys did and what Sargon did. Sargon humiliated and mocked her and critiqued her and parodied her. Everything. He roasted her. Trump just posted Fort I was gone. Ooh, oh no. We definitely bunker busted it. I can't wait to see the pictures of the satellite on that. So September, they did another, they issued a takedown saying, confirm that posting a snark will get you banned. They did another takedown in November. And Ethan talks about a celebrity poker tour and a gambling app. They talk about what's going here. Another takedown notice the same day. Ethan describing his issues with Hasan as personal. And they just keep going. They keep going. And after this takedown was issued, but before Reddit honored it, the post received additional comments. A true and correct copy has been attached as Exhibit A. So they keep going through the list of all their takedowns. Then the snark mods do counterfeit counter notifications. Reddit informed TEI a counter notification, so kind of like here on YouTube, you can do a counterclaim, was issued against both of them. Was issued against these takedowns. The first fraudulent was issued nearly 3 months later. And the first fraudulent counter notification is attached. It's Exhibit B, and we'll get to that. On its face, it failed to satisfy the requirements. You have to satisfy requirements to do a proper counter notification. You have to include your address and telephone number. You have to consent to jurisdiction and service a process. And a statement made under the penalty of perjury, meaning you're consenting to be sued if they decide to sue you. That's the part of the counter notifications under the DMCA. So why didn't it work? It was a single notification. It misrepresented the takedown was for the post and not the comment. It was also evident that it was issued by the mods because it stated, we are writing to contest the removal of 2 posts from our subreddit under the alleged claims. We believe these reports may have been filed by fans rather than the legitimate copyright holder. And then the name of the issue was Michael Anderson, a generic name that would make it impossible to identify who these people are. They just started fucking around. So after receiving the first one, TI explained the facts of the first one was invalid. On March 18th, Reddit responded that it agreed the first notification was invalid, but claimed it refused to honor the takedown because the post only linked to the video. The same day, they explained to Reddit this was false because the takedown said it was directed at the comment by Doe number 3, which contained the link. To this date, Reddit has not responded. So Reddit fucked them over too, is following what was needed to be done. So additionally, March 18th, Reddit notified TEI that there was a second bullshit one. The second one contained no indicia the user considered the 4 fair use factors prior to issuing the second notification, which is unlawful. And there are things you have to do. Further, the language of the second communication demonstrated the issuer, O'Brien Potatoes, did not understand fair use by stating, this was an abuse of the fair use system, which is bizarre because he was claiming fair use. The conclusory assertion, even so, it would still be allowed under fair use without any analysis. Yeah, that's not how that works, Chief. That's not how that works, Chief. This is further emphasized by an April 11th post by X by this guy. In the post, he posted the cease and desist letter sent by Ethan's attorneys and defended the Reddit post by claiming it was only a 1.5-minute long clip. That doesn't mean shit. You can copyright infringe a 1.5-minute long clip. You can copyright infringe a 10-second clip. They say the second one also echoed similar language. They also point out the subreddit's been at the mercy of bad faith brigades recently, and this appeal was not filed by the actual holder. Well, except they know it was filed by the real holder. TEI contacted them. It's ours. Ethan contacted them. Well, his attorneys did. Additionally, the H3 mods left a comment stating, I reached out via DM to discuss how to appeal these, if you're willing to fill out the form. This further emphasizes they coordinated a campaign of issuing bullshit notifications. So they went on a public relations campaign to paint these as fraudulent to cover up the copyright infringement. So they misrepresented the facts, they lied, and after Ethan became vocal about pursuing claims, the mods began deleting their posts, comments, and accounts to perpetuate the false narratives of concealing their copyright infringement. And then a YouTuber by the name of The Law, I am the law, I am the law, posted a video on YouTube entitled, Dear H3 Snark, I see you. In the video, Law admits he was a former Snark user who came to reject the excessive behaviors. He documented the acts, including their attempts to conceal their conduct. The video documents them deleting posts after Ethan announced his plans to pursue legal action. Well, remember, you didn't file a notice to preserve, so that becomes an issue. Because then you could have really fucked with these people, unless you did file preservation letters. But I don't think it happened. Well, at least it's not listed here. The mods abused the live chat feature on Reddit to promote harassment. How the Snark mods use sock puppet accounts. How the Snark mods perfectly lied about TEI's takedowns. And then we get to the nuke. TEI creates and registers the nuke. By the fall of 2024, their concern reached a fever pitch over Hasan radicalizing his audience with propaganda from Ansar Allah, also known as the Houthis, Hezbollah, and Hamas. All terrorist groups. All state-designated terrorist groups. All foreign terrorist organizations. The Kleins were equally concerned with Twitch's refusal to enforce his community guidelines against Hasan in his so-called waiting room, and other streamers who parrot Hasan and leech off his audience by broadcasting immediately before and after the streams. They say Hasan's waiting room hijacked the necessary and important discussions of the Palestine conflict and the Gaza war. Yeah, I'm sure in that fucking retarded Twitch stream, there was some real fucking discourse occurring with all these retards. So, I'm sure there was some brilliant fucking things going on there. So they employed genocidal rhetoric, yawn, Israelis are subhuman, blah, 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 blah. The term Zionist lost all meaning and turned to a dog whistle, blah, 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 blah. So to combat this, they created Content Nuke. The nuke was written, shot, and edited from December 2024 through January 2025. It probably took 2 straight months of working on it. On January 27th, 4 days before the nuke was publicly released, TEI submitted the application to the U.S. Copyright Office. They received a deposit copy, and the registration number for the nuke is that. The deposit copy slightly varied from the broadcast version. First, the deposit copy did not contain the conclusion and sponsor segment that was contained in the broadcast version. Well, there's a bit of an issue there. I mean, it's not fatal, but that's not a problem there. So, Garvin, you're saying this is like, well, no, these idiots admitted they were doing this to fuck him over. They're just, this is Ethan and his attorney kvetching really hard and just pouring out why these people are pieces of shit. But they did commit copyright infringement. It's just, this was all tampon ringing. They had to ring out their tampons before they could fluff them back up. So, They say TI is required to fully blur out the footage of the Houthis entering the bridge of the Galaxy Leader and black out the footage of Hamas releasing hostages. Third, minor visual edits were made. Ultimately, if all the deposit copy was incorporated into the broadcast version of the nuke, compromise of the deposit copy. And they say the nuke is a tragic comedy critiquing Hasan and Twitch. It contains original, highly edited montages, parodic skits, and archival materials, a grade of which are owned by TEI. The nuke is divided into 7 sections: the prologue, the Twitch parody, the Houthi section, the Hezbollah section, the Hamas section, the Twitch section, and the conclusion. So, Frogan's freaked and deleted all her videos? Ah! Sulfa, bitch! Sulfa! That ain't gonna save you now, sweetheart. Then there was the prologue. The prologue walks the audience through Ethan's thesis of the nuke. Hasan radicalizes his audience with genocidal and anti-Semitic terrorist propaganda and communist propaganda. Let's not, I get it. Ethan's on the left with Hasan, but it's also communist propaganda. While admitting both are polarizing figures with takes, Ethan explains he grew concerned with Hasan's rhetoric after hearing him excuse Russian and Chinese genocide and imperialism, namely Hasan's positions on Crimea, Tibet, Taiwan, and the Uyghurs. And since October 7th happened, Ethan's concerns were exacerbated. He received a torrent of anti-Semitic comments from Hasan's audience, and Hasan downplayed the sexual violence perpetrated by Hamas. Ethan explains the primary difference of opinion. While both are aligned on supporting the Palestinian cause, they differ in one key aspect on how to resolve the conflict. Ethan believes a two-state solution, while Hasan and the psychopaths believe in a one-state solution. Well, there's only going to be a one state, regardless of how this goes. Ethan articulates the Israelis have a one-state solution. Israel's been at war with its neighbors since the country's inception. As a nation of refugees, the idea of suddenly becoming a minority raises legitimate concerns, particularly for the Mizrahi Jews, Jews from Arab countries who were expelled from Arab countries. Ethan shows archival footage of Hasan supporting terrorism, glorifying terrorists, admitting to hiding his power level because it's a more palatable way of introducing young people into radicalization. Conceding to being a propagandist, which he does admit he does. Expressing vitriolic hatred of liberals. And Ethan points out that Twitch takes no action to moderate him. And that's true. The guy who runs Twitch is like, gives Hasan birthday parties and makes videos for him. The video ends the prologue by expressing the underlying fear that Hasan has played a role in mainstreaming. That he played a role in mainstreaming Hasan. He radicalized Ethan's audience. Yeah. And the funny thing is, Jordan Peterson warned Ethan not to get into bed with these people. Jordan Peterson said they will turn on you and destroy you or try to destroy you. And Ethan Kline fucked off, and Jordan Peterson's like, wash your penis. And Ethan Kline never did it. But yes, that is the thing that happened. The Twitch parody sketch. The next section involves Ethan parodying the Twitch advertising executives. They mock how Twitch has embarrassed Hasan's extremist rhetoric and rebrands terrorism as acceptable. It does. Hasan was one of the most extreme and unreliable news sources. Yeah, well, he is. This focuses that they also talked about Hasan hanging out with the Houthi guy on stream. They highlight the Houthi anti-Semitism. They're performing Nazi salutes, and death to Israel is on their flag, and curse upon the Jews, which I'm pretty sure is on their flag too. There's also coverage of the Houthis by using his stream with Nick as a case study. Hasan makes him sit there and watch Houthi propaganda videos and leaves him to watch it for a minute. But yes, it's straight up fucking Houthi propaganda videos. He downplays the propaganda video by saying these people, it's a musical, and the Houthis are a musical people. He mischaracterized the hijacking of the ships where they had their helicopter and they dropped on it and they were wearing GoPros and stuff, guys. They debunked the assertions the ship was in Houthi waters, destined for Israel or an Israeli ship. And they just took a ship they wanted to. They talk about Hasan's misguided belief that if Israel is disrupted, the Israelis will leave Israel. Yeah, that's not really going to happen either. Saying Jews will return where they come from doesn't work because nobody wants them. And many Jews are kind of stuck where they're at. To mock Hasan's laudatory coverage, Ethan puts on the Houthi music video with an edited version of a Jewish choir. Then this is what happened here. Hasan did interview a terrorist named Rashid Al-Haddad. And all the tools on, like, he's the Houthi Timothy Chalamet. He became a sensation on TikTok when he shot footage of himself boarding the tanker. And Hasan did act like a fangirl, asking questions and blindly accepting his answers. Particularly the claim that he danced with the crew and he convinced the crew to hate Israel. And when the guy said, "I like anime," Hasan's like, "Yo, dude, I like One Piece too." That's actually a real thing. That's a real thing, chat. So they go through on and on and on. They talk about the social media posts of this guy. When confronted with these things, Hasan, excuses everything. Even when he compares Al-Haddad to Anne Frank, he considered the terrorists like Anne Frank. And all he does is, it's even funnier because Hasan couldn't find Yemen on a map. It's because Hasan's a retard. Hasan's the king of the retards. There's a Hezbollah section. He talks about all the things that Hezbollah didn't do right, like they assassinated Rafiq al-Hariri, the former Lebanese prime minister. They've hijacked airplanes, fired tons of rockets. They propped up al-Assad. They were part of the people helping al-Assad fight. He praises Hassan Nasrallah, Hezbollah's former leader, who got fucking destroyed and killed. They keep going. They talk about everything that, and notice here, this is Ethan demonstrating this is what fair use is. This is critique and commentary. Page after page of critique and commentary that they've laid out here. So this is what they've done here. Just critique and commentary. So they get to the parts with Frogan in it. And they do start talking about Frogan. Showing Frogan's morally bankrupt. She condemned the large streamer Ludwig, who's another. They're all commies, chat. They're all commies. By telling him to keep his $10,000 donation to Palestine because he didn't want to organize a charity drive for Palestinians. She talks about wishing all the soldiers to get PTSD. And she watched the clip while giggling and justifying her take. And she was like, based. And in another clip, she wanted to do a subathon where she was going to make a cake recreating September 11th, which that is kind of fucking hilarious. That is kind of hilarious, chat. Ludwig is the most boring dude on the planet. Yes, he is. Ethan highlights a tweet she made on October 7th. They also show how Twitch props her up by refusing to sanction her, which you can't do other stuff there. Twitch has allowed her to host a panel at TwitchCon. It involved a racial tier list with Arabs at the top and Love Sabra at the bottom. And guys, that's in the Content Nuke. They talk about that. Well, the premise of the tier list is who could say the word Habibi. It's an Arabic term of affection. It's kind of like, like brah. The term Love Sabra is a whistle for Israelis and Jews. Sabra is a well-known Israeli hummus brand. If you didn't know that, it is. So if you're in a boycott, divest, and sanction, don't buy Sabra. And the term Sabra also means a Jew born in Israel. So, yeah, these people are like all fucking psychopaths. They're all psychopaths. They could all die in a fire and the world would be a better place. Chad, yes, thank you. I see that. We'll be ready to go at 10 o'clock. Habibi, no Habibi. Yes. Oh. So, as this goes on, they talk about it. Also, there was Denims, another member of Hasan's waiting room. She said there should be a lower category for Zionist, and Ethan notes that Ben Shapiro is put in the thumbnail for the video, despite Ben not being put on there. Well, Ethan and Ben are both Jewish and married to women who are in Israel. Yeah, but Ethan, is your wife a doctor? That's the difference between you and Ben Shapiro. Is your wife a doctor, Ethan? Did you know Ben Shapiro's wife's a doctor? Chat. So they keep going here. They keep going through. So there was a year-long Twitch ban for Israeli users, which is kind of like, wow. Anyways, they go through all of it. They go on to excoriate Twitch for putting on, Al-Haddad got back on. Sneeko got back on. And Myron Gaines. And like, oh my God, these people are so bad. So getting through all this is just more and more complaining about stuff here. He talks about the ban of Destiny. And Destiny got banned for calling another streamer and, Keffels inbred. And if you guys didn't know that, that's why Destiny's not on Twitch anymore. He's on YouTube. He called Keffels inbred. And I will say this, Destiny, I know you're out there. Based. Very based. Mega based. Is it based to call Keffels inbred?
Was this story based? Yes.
There you go, chat. And I'm going through a lot of this for you guys so you can learn the lore, because I know a lot of you don't know this or follow this stuff. But you need the lore. Hasan did threaten Senator Tom Cotton by replying to Cotton's tweet with a schematic of the weapon used to assassinate Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. You guys remember he was killed with a homemade shotgun. Rest in peace, Mr. Abe. Abe-san. We'll never forget you looking down on us. So, Ethan ends the nuke summarizing the reasons he made the video. First, to stop Hasan's infiltration of mainstream media and to hold Twitch accountable. So, moving on from there, it was a veiled threat. It was a little more than veiled. If I would have done that, I bet I got the FBI knocking on my door. H3 promotes Frogan as a substitute for the nuke. As Ethan built up interest in the nuke, it was discussing it on his show, the audience of Hasan in the waiting room, who were a large majority of the snark users, anticipated it with religious fervor to defend their proverbial Grand Mufti from criticism. They did not want to watch the authorized version because Ethan would make money off of it. They knew there was a huge demand to watch the nuke. So they, on behalf of the mods, created the mega thread, where to watch and discussion, as a pinned community post. The first inducement post was featured at the top in the page community highlights. So they were making it prominent. They featured Frogan as a pace to watch a nuke without support for H3. They say that Frogan supported H3 Snark by engaging directly with the mods directly. So a true and correct printout of that post is attached. Does the judge have to read all this? Yes. Yeah, he'll read all of it. It's going to be important. So as they did this, they put it up and got going right away. The second post was to watch reactions to the video. A link was provided to her Twitch stream. After some point, they deleted the post. They were well aware of Frogan's reputation for copyright infringement and lazy reactions. They knew the nuke would be an infringing group viewing session. So what happened? Well, the law of fair use in reaction videos. Well, they talk about, and this is where you get into the law. So to do fair use, the purpose and character of the use. Is it of a commercial nature or is it for a nonprofit? That's important. The nature of the copyrighted work. The amount and portion of the used work in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. The effect of the use upon a potential market or value of the copyrighted work. The first fair use factor relates to the problem of substitution, whether the new work supersedes or supplants the original. The central question is, does it add something new with a further purpose or different character? The mere fact that a secondary use has some further purpose or adds something new does not render such fair use, but it's helpful. Rather, when you have further purpose or a different character is a matter of degree, and the degrees must be weighed. So you have to say, well, how different is it? Just because it's different, it's not enough. And while this is a further argument here, the transformativeness is a matter of degree. And they say an overbroad concept of transformative use, one that indicates any further purpose or a different character would narrow copyright owners' exclusive right to create derivative works. And they say to preserve that right, transformative use must go beyond that required to qualify as derivative. And the first factor also relates to the justification for the use, both in the broad sense and narrow sense. It has a distinct purpose that furthers the goal of copyright, namely to promote the progress of science and arts, without diminishing the incentive to create. And guys, remember, copyrights and patents are listed in the Constitution. The framers were worried about intellectual property. So they say a use is justified in the narrow sense when it's reasonably necessary to achieve a purpose. So they say a critical book review illustrates how a secondary use must be justified in both senses. Say, in the broad sense, the original serves a different purpose than the book. In the narrow sense, each quoted passage likely serves a different purpose. And while this may not be so, a court must consider each use to determine whether the copying is fair. And just because of that, book reviews are not entitled to presumptions of fair use. There are several indicia of when a criticism is not sufficiently transformative to justify secondary use. The commentary has no bearing. The claim to fairness in borrowing from another's work diminishes accordingly. And other factors like the extent of the commerciality are very big at that point. When you copy more than is necessary to do your thing. Even the use of copyrighted work is not consistently transformative. So when clips are played without much interruption, if any used in excess of the purpose, use of voiceovers, headlines, or captions, or wholesale copying, sprinkled with written commentary fails to sufficiently transform copyrighted work under fair use. And it says when a copyrighted work is used to illustrate what the work already depicts, the infringer adds no purpose or different character. And the copyright law treats the infringer as free writing on the internet, the inherent value of the original work. So the first factor doesn't favor any user who wants to reach different buyers in different markets who consume different products. You're still substituting. You are still substituting. You guys are saying who deems what is necessary? Well, in copyright, the court determines all of this, and then the jury can determine damages. Tuck Tech says, where does it sit for you? It's not fair use. They admitted they were doing this to fuck him over. They were trying to supplant his thing because otherwise people would have to hate watch Ethan. So they denied Ethan that stuff. They intentionally were doing this. Like, at the very least, this is going to get to discovery. Will they end up having to, are they going to get all the way to a verdict? I doubt it. But I bet Destiny's going to rake him over the coals with discovery. It will be fucking hilarious. It will be hilarious. So. Yeah, the intent in this is so obvious. They admitted they're doing it. So commercialism examines the degree to which the new user exploits the copyright for commercial gain, as opposed to incidental use. So you have to consider whether they were motivated by profits and profited from the publication. Yes. And they say if you're not advertising a scholarly critique, historical analysis, but seek to profit at least in part from the inherent value, the use is commercial, which I think they did commercial. They also do that when you make unauthorized use to capture significant revenues as a consequence of the copying work. And what did they say? What did they say? We're doing this to fuck over Ethan. It's like, well, there you go. There you go. There you go. Once again, don't fucking talk about breaking the fucking law. So stupid. It's so stupid. And they talk about Ethan Klein's case where it was just about mockery and it was criticism and comment. There was performance, dialogue, and plot lines. The second fair use factor, the nature of the work, hasn't been terribly significant in fair use balancing. This is the extent the work is creative and whether it's unpublished. Even when a work, documents a real event, the work can be creative because it's the product of technical and artistic decisions. Whether work is published is defined by whether the author exhausted the right to control the first public appearance of the work. The mere fact the work is published does not weigh in favor of fair use. That's true. Just because it's out there doesn't mean you can do that. And the court found the second fair use factor weighed against the finding of fair use. And they say the third factor examines the quantitative amount and qualitative amount of the original work used in relation to the justification for that use. And this factor circles back to the first factor. How much of it did you use out of this and how much of it's important? When the amount used is substantial, it is evidence of the value of the work. And they say copying an entire work can mitigate findings of fair use. And this is a case out of 2019 out of the Ninth Circuit. And they say, however, if the new user only copies as much as necessary for his or her intended use, this factor will not weigh against the user. As much as you need only. But once again, they also bring in what Ethan did. You know, he copied a great deal of the video, but it was important for him to do it. And they say the fourth factor is undoubtedly the most important, and this is Harper and Row Publishers. This is a very big case too. The fourth factor focuses on the actual or potential market substitution. So you encompass both the extent of the market harm caused by the actions of the infringer and whether the unrestricted and widespread conduct sort of engaged in would result in a substantially adverse impact on the market for the original and the market for derivative works. Yeah, it's a problem. They say even when there's little direct evidence of harm, the plaintiff need only show if the challenge use should become widespread, it would be adversely affected. I mean, really, at this point, anything he puts out there is going to get sniped up. They also say you must take into account the public benefits the copying will likely produce. And they say, in other words, does the use serve copyright's goal of enriching public knowledge? No, it does not. Carmelo Anthony footage leaked. Tag me on Twitter or send that to me however you can find it. Send it to me however you can find it. So, now we get to the big parts here. Frogan's group session failed to make a fair use claim. So her statements intending for the group viewing session to serve as a substitute shows substitution. That's really going to kill her. It's really going to kill her really bad. She made a statement on stream demonstrating her group viewing session, along with the viewing sessions of her friends, would serve as substitutes for the original, which, yeah. And it says, you know, Ethan wants to maximize his numbers. Here's the thing, though, no matter what, there are going to be people, other creators that they would rather watch it with. At the time she goes live in the early morning, Sean goes live early as fuck. Mike from PA, who's another fucking weirdo out there, goes on early as fuck. I go live in the afternoon, but lately I've been going live a little bit earlier. And shortly before the nuke, she made this following statement acknowledging it was a substitute and that the snark was funneling audience members to her group viewing session. So it says, we have a bingo card, the snark Reddit made. And that alone isn't really an issue, but I guess it does show that they came over. So anyways, you know, she says that chatter says first time viewer, time to watch the nuke video ethically. Because fucking over Ethan is ethical in their opinion. So a bunch of people coming over the H3 Snark Reddit. And, you know, we're going to watch it live. Yes. So she began the reviewing the nuke 1 minute after the nuke was released to the public. Which that's also an issue. Like, you're watching it immediately. Like, that's pretty much a substitution issue. That's very much a substitution issue, in my opinion. So, in other words, her priority was to personally and financially benefit from providing substitute for the original, and commentary and criticism was a mere afterthought. So they say on 40 separate occasions, the group viewing session compromises of watching the nuke primarily at 1.5 to 1.75 speed for 30 seconds or more, with no commentary whatsoever, or at most, an unintelligible word or phrase. In most instances, she's not even paying attention. Her head is buried in her phone texting someone else. In the aggregate, these excerpts compromise 72 minutes, or approximately 70% of the nuke. And they say the poverty of Frogan's commentary, coupled by showing long, unadulterated portions of the nuke, demonstrate Frogan intended her session to serve as a substitute. Now, here's the thing. I don't think when you can just show, she showed, what this is meant to be. Like, these aren't that long. These aren't that long amounts of time, as far as this goes here. Like, some of this is kind of like, yeah. So, I mean, that is the thing here. Yeah. And a completely separate instance, though, she leaves an empty chair reaction. At a certain point, she says, "Can I use the bathroom, please? I'll leave the nuke playing." She lets the nuke play at 1.5 speed, a total of 2 times minutes and 46 seconds. They say for 1 minute, 52 seconds, she lets the nuke play at 1.5 speed while she's off screen relieving herself. Well, that's 1.5, like, that's not really, but it's when you can, it's like the 1 minute alone on its own isn't a big deal, but when you do all of this, chat, that's a lot of fucky wuckies. So, while she's off screen, and when she returns, Frogan is practically signed for an additional 1 minute and 3 seconds. And when she does pause the nuke, those moments freely compromise of painful, pregnant pauses as Frogan struggles to find something to say. Many of these comments, or many of these moments of silence, last 10 seconds or longer. I mean, that's not a problem. This dead air further emphasizes that commenting and critiquing was an afterthought to the primary purpose of Frogan's group viewing. I mean, that's, yeah. Now, what was she doing? She was trying to capitalize on the interest by siphoning viewers away. The opposite were true. Frogan would have taken her time to formulate her thoughts and select the portions of the nuke she intended her critique. No, I could buy the idea she wanted to respond to it right away and she found out she was in it. Like, I totally get responding right away and not having, like, I generally respond kind of off the hip. So I think that makes a lot more sense. And like writing something out, like, I don't have the fucking time for that. Like, do you? Because I know I don't. So they also talk about here, they do other copyrighted works they infringe on. They play a bunch of songs by the artist Bad Bunny. On another occasion, she plays an interrupted 29-second excerpt of Arab Money by the artist Busta Rhymes without any commentary or criticism. Oh no, chat. Oh no, so scary. That's where I'm like, okay, don't kvetch too hard. Don't kvetch too hard. So, Frogan fails to address the vast majority of points in the nuke, which further emphasizes her purpose was to host the viewing session. Well, she's also retarded. And this is where I think there's a problem. Like, I think I need to explain this differently if I could to Ian here, or Ethan here. Frogan fails to address the points of Hasan's take on the Uyghurs, the primary difference on the Israeli conflict. Ethan's support of the Palestinian cause, the underlying support of the Mizrahi Jews, Hasan's support of terrorism, Ethan's commentary on Hasan. No, Hasan conceding he's a propagandist, and Hasan's hatred of liberals. Yep, he does. He hates liberals. So they talk about all the stuff that Frogan didn't do, and she didn't do a lot of things here, guys. She didn't do a lot of things. On 3 occasions, Frogan reads chat calling her out for her failure to address points raised, such as, "Don't you have something to say? Could you at least make one point? How anyone listens or watches you is insane." That's something there. So her response was, like, what commentary do you want me to add? By like, oh, this guy's a fucking idiot, he's mentally ill and he's having a mental breakdown, and upload it to YouTube. Yeah. She's like, what do you want me to make a point on? She calls people a bitch? Oh. On at least 3 occasions, she reads chats calling her out for being a hypocrite, such as dragging the crew into dispute, that she's not a pacifist, she's not being aware of the context of a clip, despite Ethan using clips out of context. It's finally 2 occasions she reads chats calling up for engaging in damage control and running defense. Well, she definitely has. She definitely has. She's definitely, it's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious. So, as we keep going here, we got 683 people here, guys. Thank you for sticking around. Russell Greer's going to file a copy of this. Oh, God, no. So, most of her statements have no critical bearing on the style or substance of the nuke. Yeah, but being a retard is not a problem. The fact she's like a 90 IQ isn't a, should not be used against her in that regard. That's just, I don't think that's, I don't think that's enough. One of the most frequent utterances is expressing excitement over the appearance of her friends in the nuke. In these instances, Frogan does not address how her friends are portrayed in the nuke. On numerous occasions, she makes utterances that are incoherent. So, on other occasions, she will discuss completely unrelated topics such as the harassment of her friend, the emergency notification she received, thanking another streamer for raiding Rogan's stream, and discussing a dispute between Ethan and Daniel Keem. So does Keemstar. She's incoherent. Wait, DSP reacted to this? That idiot probably has less IQ than Denims. No, DSP has not reacted to this. Arguing with her chat about unrelated points, and 6 discussing members of the crew for the H3 podcast. In other instances, she merely narrates what is shown in the nuke. Yeah, that's not good. She engages in superficial and ad hominem attacks. Well, she's an idiot that you can't really do anything about that. She complains about the length. She plays a bingo game. Well, that's, content. Frogan makes brief surface level arguments claiming she's disgusted by watching the nuke. Claiming the nuke is just a clip and compilation and voiceovers. Complaining how Hasan's dog Kaya is portrayed. Calling the nuke a content sparkler. And complaining about the nuke's use of, and complaining about the nuke's use, editing, and the brief insults in the nuke. And chat, hold on one second. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. I gotta go pay the water bill. Hangman 420, yes. Was that code for drugs or piss? Now I had to go take a leak. All right. So in other instances, she makes blithe and unsupported false assertions about the nuke. Well, that's all commentary. I mean, that's critique. There's nothing that says, like, if she's an idiot, that's still commentary. Like, I don't see how that's not going to get you anywhere. She says Ethan shouldn't do political analysis, although the irony is that she's incompetent. Like, I get it. A lot of this is just shitting all over people. But yeah. Ethan doesn't care about Muslims, claiming Arabs have not killed Israelis. A lot of this. Ethan is not a Democrat. Gila called for killing baby militants. Ethan is dishonest. Like this, like once she starts talking, like this shit is like No, I think you've got a problem there. Not only does Frogan fail to substantiate the assertions, she does not explain how this alters the meaning of contents. And the rare instances she does engage in the content, her comments primarily concern her topic of herself. She expresses excitement she was included, indulging in her fantasy. Ethan is obsessed with her, repeatedly regurgitating her bitterness that she's paid by Qatar, expressing bewilderment at what was wrong with her comments, attacking Ethan, gloating over a Rising Star Award, thanking Ethan for the recent picture of her, discussing the issue being described as Hasan's head mod, despite never making that claim. So a bunch of this here. They get to the PTSD thing. Like I said, a lot of this is kind of like, I mean, I think they could have done this a different way. Aiden Paladin, hi, how are you? Says, could that have been included to evidence of malice? I think it does, and it just shows she doesn't care. I get that, but I just think there's ways you could do this where, like, saying she's a moron, you run into an issue of, okay, she's an idiot, but she's intentionally violating copyright. Okay, but I mean, I'd stick with those things where she does the chair streaming, but like where she's just talking about all this random retarded garbage. I think you were going to run into an issue with a court saying, well, it's only fair use if you're intelligent. Well, like that becomes a freedom of speech issue because you're allowed to be a moron in America. And you shouldn't be restricted by fair use based on your intelligence. Like, you have the right to speak and sound like a moron. That's what I do here. So I think there's some. This is just scoring. Like, this is them just twisting the knife, I think. But I hate it when there's unnecessary preachy bullshit in here. So stupidity is not an excuse. I just think there's ways you could do this that would make a little more sense. I would have probably took out a lot of the a lot of this can just be done. Elfpire Eva. Slap doesn't matter here. Slap doesn't matter. This is in federal court. This is a copyright violation. There is no federal anti-slap statute. Anti-slap only works on tort actions. So filing an anti-slap claim, you're going to argue California state law has no bearing on the Copyright Act. So you can't, there ain't nothing you could do about that. Like I said, the only ways you can get through a copyright issue are showing they never had a copyright or you got some exception to copyright. Those are Frogan's options, and she's admitted she's intentionally doing this. So that's the problem there. So like I said, I don't like it when, even in the one with Destiny and Pixie, like, skip the fucking preambles. Let's get to what happened. But this is an airing of grievances, and you know what? You can put it in your court document. And I'm sure, you know what? Ethan wanted to point out that Frogan's a stupid bitch, and she's a fucking retard, and her takes suck, and she's dumb as fuck. I don't disagree with any of that. This is just his opportunity to fucking railroad her and mock her and ream her out. I mean, it's another way of doing it, because now somebody like me is covering it, and I'm going to point out how big of a fucking idiot Frogan is, too. So, there you go. There you go. None of the people who's suing called CPS. Well, you don't know that. We don't know who did what. And I still think this is going to be used to go after the Reddit mods and whoever else is out there as discovery to find out who did it. He's using this as a vehicle to not only settle some scores and collect scalps, but as I said, it's a shaping operation. This is going to allow him to do then more things. So, yeah, Denims actively encourage her chat to call CPS on them. So, yeah, Ethan wants his scalps. I think so. So, I think there's going to be I think this is going to allow him to do discovery, which as part of that discovery, he's probably hoping to find out that information. Because remember, I want all your phone messages that you've had, you contacting these mods and contacting all these other people. There's a lot of things there. Glowman in the Dark says that this is all a shaping operation for the full-scale invasion of Reddit mods. Yeah, I think so. I think it's part of it. Sari is saying, I think Asmongold seems to think there's a bomb in Twitch's TOS to use against them if he wins. I mean, maybe. I don't know if there is. Asmongold will know Twitch's TOS better than me, so I'll defer there. Let's see here. Chaucer Fraud says, is this an attempt to prejudice the judge, or could it be viewed that way? Well, yeah. In your complaint, you're trying to, like, it's entirely, you're meant to prejudice the judge. You're trying to say, Judge, these people are bad pieces of shit. On the other side, Frogan's going to come back and say, no, Judge, Ethan's the bad man. Ethan's a piece of shit. Like, that's what complaints are. It's name calling, and you're going to cast aspersions. I mean, you're making allegations that people have violated the law. So you're already calling people out for being shitbags. So that's just normal. That's normal. Let's see here. Somebody. So you forgot copyright cases are federal. My bad. I'm glad it's a case all around. All three creators being sued literally bragged about infringing. Yeah. And that's the thing. You never fucking admit you're going to break the law like that. So this is pretty normal. Well, no, this is a lot of editorializing and a lot of this is the airing of grievances. But you know what? His attorney's charging him by the word or charging him by the hour, so Ethan's paying for it. So remember, Ethan could afford to light money on fire. Frogan, Denims, and Kaycetron can't. They're fucked. So from there, we're just going to keep moving on. Like, yes, Frogan's a piece of shit. We already know. She's a retard. You know, blah, 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 blah. We're going to keep moving along here. Like, Frogan, look, this is all just, look how big of a retard Frogan is. So, all of this. Now, they get to the fair use factors here. And they really break this down here. The use of the nuke was highly commercial. During her session, Frogan repeatedly calls upon her audience to pay her for a subscription to the channel. Thanks to subscribers and promotes her podcast. Both before and during Frogan's viewing session, Frogan places her paid subscription goal prominently on screen, including a chat PowerPoint topic, a heart cake baking stream, and the sleep stream. Yes, you guys didn't know, that's what these fucking people do. I have to make content. They can sleep. So, she received numerous paid subs and donations. You know, they do the TTS shit over on Twitch all the time. So, yeah, it was definitely meant to substitute. The second fair use factor, the nuke was released a minute prior to the viewing session. Does not weigh in her favor. The nuke contains creative elements which weigh against fair use. As to the third factor, it weighs heavily against fair use. It's really apparent her use was excessive to any potential criticism. And the minimal level of commentary and highly commercial nature of the group viewing session. It's true because she provides brief statements, which, once again, I don't think the statements are the problem here, but she made a lot of fucking money off of it. And the final factor weighs heavily against fair use. It's apparent that Frogan intended to provide a market substitute. She said that she was going to. She showed it entirely. She started her session right after it aired. And the inducement post by the mods. She siphoned the audience off, and they lost viewers and advertising revenue. Her conduct did become widespread. Several members of the waiting room conducted a viewing session immediately after the release, which resulted in further views. So they're suing for direct copyright infringement, count 1. So they talked about she accessed the nuke from the H3H3 channel. They didn't grant her any license, authorization, or consent to exploit the nuke in any manner. And they say the group viewing constituted unauthorized reproduction and public performance and derivative work. The acts of copyright, they have suffered damages and amount to be established at trial. Due to the acts of copyright infringement, Frogan obtained profits they would not have realized but for their infringements. Frogan's acts were done with actual or constructive knowledge of Ethan's rights. And they were willful, intentional, malicious, which really fucks her over if the court agrees. Now we get to the second one, chat, and this is where this is what the Farms is being sued for right now by Russell Greer. Contributory copyright infringement. This is kind of a bullshit legal theory, and it shouldn't survive. It shouldn't survive here. Yes, we're going to stream about the bombing, the attack in Iran when Trump goes live. We're going to wrap this up here quick. This is a contributory copyright infringement that you're inducing or facilitating people to do it. I mean, that's more of like a conspiracy to do it. Like you'd allege conspiracy, but I don't like it. I don't like this argument here. I don't like this here at all. So the Snark mods knew Frogan's group session would infringe. The Snark mods are responsible for the first inducement and the second inducement post. I argue they didn't contributorily copyrighted. They were a part of Frogan's team. They assisted her, so it's not contributory. I'd argue you could probably just do it under the simple theory of they helped her make this happen. So, due to the Snark mods contributory infringement, like I said, I think contributory infringement is retarded. They could just make it up that they were all part of the common scheme and plan. Because I think contributory infringement is bullshit. Prayer for relief, guys. Remember, no widows and orphans when you type. And also, I know I didn't cover this before because it just goes on and on and on. Justify your alignments. Don't do this shit. Don't do this shit. It drives me crazy. Justify your alignments. Find Jesus, please, when you write documents. They want TEI to be awarded the profits of each defendant, plus the losses, the infringement of the nuke, the exact sum to be proven, or if elected, statutory damages in the amount of $150,000, which they can collect. That's the statutory violation amount. They want reasonable attorney's fees, which are going to be a shitload, prejudgment interest, and any other relief the court deems proper. And this is done by Ian's attorneys, and it was dated June 19th. So there you go. Miku is saying you can't allege they were part of the team. The team is alleged by Ethan calling the waiting room. They aren't working together. I don't know. Do you know they're not working together? They seem to be working together. This contributory copyright thing is a bullshit argument, though. It's a bullshit legal theory. They were working together. And I'm sure Discovery is going to show that they were direct communication. So that's probably going to go real... Like, Discovery is going to be bad for these people. Discovery is going to be very bad for the mods, because eventually they're going to get found out, and for Frogan, and for Kaycetron, and for Denims. So, I know some of the parties, they don't work together. Well, it just seems like they're all fellow travelers then. That seems a little weird. Yeah, there's a lot of evidence of collusion here. So, yeah, this is, I just don't think it's going to work that way. And moving over here, guys, to this one. This is the one for Denims. It's going to be much of the similar thing. I do like how this one starts off. The Nightmare on Denim Street. Guys, remember, Denims is an OnlyFans hoe on top of everything else. You know, she says, we're relying on you to stay live, so we have to give the nuke views. I'm going to stream it since it's confirmed it's coming out today. I'm going to stream it. And it says, if you guys enjoy not giving any views to that terrible video, give me a follow, subscribe, throw a prime if you like my content. So those were her statements. Yeah, she bones herself on this. A lot of this, once again, guys, they talk about Denims. They talk about how this works here. Denims is an online streamer. She lives in Van Nuys. So Van Nuys is one of the suburbs. Well, it's not one of the suburbs of LA, but it's like one of the neighborhoods or towns that LA kind of subsumed as LA moved around. So she lives in LA itself. So she's slatternly and self-boned. Yes. Once again, they talk about all these people. We've already been through a lot of this. You know, they talk about Denims. They talk about Denims just being a piece of shit. Here's Denims. She responded to a video from June Nicole Lapine, also known as Shoe on Head, which critiqued Balenciaga's advertising campaign that had minors in BDSM attire. Rather than acknowledge the concern, she took the absurdly grotesque position of defending Balenciaga and attempted to paint Shoe on Head as homophobic. Yeah, well, Denims is a piece of shit. There you need to know. Helicopter rides for everybody. So, Sir says, could he get 3 times on a judgment? Yeah. He can collect from Kaycetron, Denims, and Frogan. Each one. So, she was not involved. They're just pointing out how big of a piece of shit she is. So, they're just pointing out how big a piece of shit Denims is. So, this just goes through Denims' career and a lot of the shit she did. And once again, they rehash a bunch of the stuff here. Yeah. Look at this. A lot of this is the same, but this is what happens when you have co-defendants. You file a separate claim against them. And we get down through all of it. They bring up different things though. There's a little bit of during the viewing session, she received 45,800 concurrent views. This is exponentially more than she's ever received in her entire career. This also puts her online video career in overdrive. In the days leading up to the session, her peak concurrent viewers ranged from 3,000 to 4,500. After it became 5,100 to 6,700. And these are how they showed her performance over time. So there you go. That's how they're tracking that. So for her, she entitled her viewing session the Content Nuke Watch Party. This is not a drill. And once again, this is where she talks about admitting to doing all the shit because she's a retard. And if you guys enjoy not giving any views to that terrible video, please follow, subscribe, throw a prime if you like the content, if you enjoyed your time here. I appreciate you guys tuning in with me because I'm going to be honest, I did not want to watch that by myself. Well, there you go. Like a dumb fuck. Putting it down in writing, putting it out there for people to find. So, and once again, this is similar. She did a bunch of disappearances. She said, if I sat here and explained why he was wrong, I'd be here for 20 hours. And guys, I read through these parts here. I've gone in and tried to explain why he's incorrect, unlike 1 in every 10 incorrect takes, because I'm not trying to spend an entire week here. Well, that shows her being malicious and lazy. Like, I don't want to work. I'm tired. She says, I don't understand to say about these. This is wrong because of this, another wrong take. Well, I just paused it for 10 minutes. I feel bad pausing it again because surely there'll be something better here. So she failed to address the majority of the points raised. It emphasizes her purpose was to view this, and Nuke was a criticism, was an afterthought. And yes, for her, this Denims is probably the worst of the 3 in what she said and how it could be applied to her. She's actually in a lot of trouble here, I think, of all 3 of them. So, is this just all over stream sniping? Yeah, but they admitted they were stream sniping with the intent to not, like, they did this to fuck him out of money. So, just being retarded. I mean, like, once again, guys, they go through all the stuff here where basically she does all the shit Frogan does and doesn't do, blah, 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 blah. Once again, she has direct copyright infringement against Denims. And they talk about how she didn't have any license to do it. Once again, contributory copyright infringement. This is just all garbage. It's not going to work. It shouldn't work this way. But we'll see. I don't think their theories are going to work. I mean, the 10th Circuit allows it, technically. But otherwise, it's not really anywhere else. So, also, Ethan is a gigantic channel suing very, very small channels. Yes, but Miku, like I told you, this is not This is a means to an end, my white friend. To quote Ving Rhames in a Con Air. It's a means to an end, my white friend. He's going after these people because they're Hasan's people. And he's going to make Hasan and iDubbbz sit there and have to watch him fucking kill them. He is going to scalp them, and they're going to have to sit there and not do anything about it. There's multiple reasons Ethan's doing this. He's also going to fuck with these people because they fucked with him. So he's going to fuck them back. He's also going to use this, like I said, this is the step forward in waging a war and going after everybody he can. It is what it is. It is what it is. There are multiple theories there. Yes, they're all commies, so fuck them anyway. Yes. It's very creative. It's a creative way to go attack people. It's a very creative way to attack people. I mean, it's not a frivolous lawsuit. It's not a frivolous lawsuit at all. It's a lawsuit that will generate leads and information. It will generate manna from heaven. So, don't get one guyed by an anime avatar with room temperature takes. Well, everybody else is. I mean, it's they deserve to get thumped a little bit. You know, Miku needs a father figure, and I shall provide it. I shall provide that firm hand to guide. So, could Ethan's dual motives hurt him? No. I mean, think about it. Like, oh, this is a trap, or Ethan's got other motives. Did they violate copyright? Yes or no? Boom, done. That's all that matters. Ethan's going to be able to use Discovery to go fuck with people. Oh, well. Do they have a copyright claim? Done. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. So, this is the first time suing someone, according to Ethan. Wait, no, didn't they sue Ryan Kavanaugh? The guy from Triller? He sued them, I thought. Because he just won. I was going to go over that. He won to apply anti-slap against Ethan. I wonder if Ethan would settle if people were to give him information. Sure, I bet he might. He settled with Ryan, yes, but he lost at the appellate level. I thought. So, I don't remember. I got to take a look at what it was. So, but anyways, guys, these are people you want to see get into a knife fight. You just stand back. When they're getting into the fight, you just stand back and let them stab each other. And you're like, oh no, don't do that. And you're like, oh, here's a broken pool cue. And throw it in the middle of the fight and just, you let it happen. You feed it along. Does Frogan deleting your VODs do anything? Well, I mean, when you start deleting things, it does show that you're acting with a guilty conscience and that you might be trying to hide stuff. Was there a preservation order being... I'm presuming that Ethan's been sending out DMCAs for a while now. I presume his attorneys did send out preservation letters. And if Frogan really was retarded enough to ignore the preservation letter and start deleting things, yeah, it's going to lead to adverse inferences and, it's going to lead to sanctions and discovery problems. If Denims has done it, deleting text messages, DMs, whatever. I mean, it's not a strong move, deleting all your shit. I mean, stand on your fucking business. Stand on your fucking business. You call down the thunder, it's here. Stand on your business. Stand on your business. I do not have an encyclopedic memory of internet retards. I'm not that good. I just know I have a pretty decent normie-sized amount knowledge of the retards out there. Oh yeah, if Ethan lawyers aren't done, they certainly downloaded everything. I would presume they sent out a preservation letter, but we just don't know. We just don't know right now. So we just don't know. And hold on one second, chat. Hold on here. It will be interesting to see what happens. It will be interesting to see what happens going forward. Yeah, I see the judge ruling on the copyright infringement and applying the letter of law. Well, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen, but they're doing what they can to make it, bigger. So Ethan's trying to be the next Billy Mitchell. Yes, it helps these people are retards. Yes, it is. It is important to do that. All right, chat. So we got caught up on things here. Fair Frozen 55. It's good to see you, man. Saying, don't worry, Sean. You know Ethan will pick up that burnt bill and take it to a bank for replacement. It's in his blood. Well, so would I. Jefferson C. Post says, I remember Mahler getting pulled into a debate. Vodka Blood says, Sean, this is a defamation case. No, sadly, it's not. Brad says the internet's 90% about stealing anyway. Yeah, it is. Watcher on the web. Watcher, how you doing, man? Says plenty of reactors have found ways to do their reaction content in a way that requires the viewer also to view the primary source. Yes, that's another way of doing that as well. Watch, like having a thing where everybody watches, independently, but you guys are talking as you go through it. There's ways to do it. Hella from Excited Utterance. How are you doing, Hella? Friend of the show says, for remember 18 months. That's a long fucking time. Thanks for the support. Sean is looking slim as fuck. Well, slimmer. Thank you. Thanks. Bushmaster gifting 5 subs. Thank you, Bushmaster. EDW Raptor gifting 5 subs. And Vodka Blood dropping 10 subs. Thank you guys for your support and your generosity. I do appreciate it. And guys, if you got a sub, make sure you tell them thank you. And if you guys are new and you haven't been here before, we do generally a members only stream once a week, Wednesday nights. So stick around, especially the Kara Reed trial's over. We'll be able to cover all kinds of fun stuff. And if you guys don't know who I am, my name's Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. I'm an attorney in the Cleveland, Ohio area. So that's why I'm this fat guy's talking about the law stuff tonight. Midnight in Exile says Sargon won against Aquila only after only transforming by changing the title and clipping a bit from the beginning. He did a lot more than clip a little bit. He reorganized it pretty good. He dragged her in that thing. Like he did a lot of editing. It wasn't just a little bit. Watcher also says you don't need to know a lol cow to milk it. Very true. Very true. Nico says if you think about it, it's really a copyright matter. If you want to know the truth about it, bish. Yes. Saul Vlaxitov saying, seriously, this is a DSP tier suit. Exactly how DSP would go after people if he actually had the money to do so. Well, I mean, if he had the money to go after like some of these channels like Snort Hogan and stuff like that, yeah, and he might have a chance to do that. But the people, but no, this is not DSP tier. This is, I argue Ethan Klein's on a different level than DSP anyway. DSP is on his own. You can't, that's fighting words. That's fighting words. Dewey says that Frogan's a couple IQ points away from needing a helper to open her pudding cup. I bet she is. Solon, the lick for 100. What are ARS? I forget. Those are Argentine pesos. Duh. 100 Argentine pesos. Says the dildo of karma rarely arrives lubed. Yes. I'm not even a Kline fan, neither am I. But going after his family was completely off. The wood chipper goes brr. Yep. Philly Zoo says, been remember 3 months. Thank you. Saying, I fear Frogan the Hutt, the eater of halal worlds. Yes, I do too. Bella says, so Ethan wants to cross-check this. Yeah, I think there's a lot of this is he's gonna collect some scalps and then he's also just gonna use this to fish. Displeased Sociopath, who's been a member for 2 months, says, is Rico possible? LOL. I assume you're speaking in jest, sir, but Rico is never the answer in a civil case. Rico is very hard in a criminal case, but yes, Rico is never the answer. Great Loner for $2 says it's happening. Yes, apparently it was. Claire Fries for $20. Thank you. Is saying I'm super late for this. Has anyone already mentioned that Frogan is spoliating all over the place? Oh, I'm sure she's deleting text, deleting DMs, burnt. She is just, I guarantee you, she's wiping shit left and right. In the finest of traditions. Steven Bunt for $5 says, and thank you for the super chat, Claire. Good, thank you for being here. Stephen Bunt says, Trump says they just finished bombing the Iran nuclear sites. Trump truth? I mean, it sounds like they did, and we're going to find out at 10 o'clock. So, Tim Riggs has been a member for 10 months. Thank you for the support there, Tim. 10 months is a long time. More Green and Tim Riggs for 20 subs. Let's go, chat. Let's go. Trucker Rob for $5 says, Sean. Thank you. Keopathic says, you could say he can collect. Like, you can get blood from retarded commie stones. Yeah, but you know what? Ethan's willing to make these people live in a fucking piss in a cardboard box for the rest of their life. He can afford to do it. So, you know, making someone suffer is sometimes a legal aim. Making their life a living hell. Look what I did to them. Sometimes that's important. Setting an example. But very true. But remember, Denims is an OnlyFans hoe, and she makes fucking money. You know, there's ways you can go after people and attach on all kinds of things. And, you know, by looking at the name of Ethan's attorney, I guarantee you he's got some Jewy lawyers who will fucking collect debt like a motherfucker. So, they better not lose. KLF gifted 10 subs. Thank you, KLF. Tuckek for 2, just what is ours? Our rubles? Is that? Oh, South African Rand is just the R? I thought it was ZAR. But for 2 South African Rand. Sean is the internet daddy we all deserve. Well, thank you. Costi for 20 subs. Thank you, Costi. Thank you for the support, your generosity. Jefferson Post says, Kirsha and Medicare stream is Sunday per Jim's Twitter. Ooh, that'll be fun. Kirsha and Jim, that'll be fun. Foxu and the Cancer Man. That'll be great. So, it was ZAR. It said R on my, I only saw an R. That's why I was confused. You think that's Brazil bucks? Okay. Is it Brazilian real? I don't know. R is the Brazilian real. Okay, well, I typed that into Google and it said South African Rand, and I'm like, okay. Okay. You thought today was Sunday? No. No. Yes, he's hired Hasidics. Yes. He'll hire Joe. Gritosa says, Denims is an OnlyFans thought? It's horrifying. I wouldn't fat to that tart if she were the last piece of ass on earth. Yes, I understand. Also, how you doing, man? Hope you're doing well. You know, Kritosis is out there fighting the good fight against the retard known as Acer Thorn. Yeah, she basically cosplays. Nothing important to talk about. So, how many times have you smoked during this stream? Over or under 40? Yes, Robert Lawrence says you need a wheelbarrow full of Argentine pesos to buy a loaf of bread. Yes. Yes. Someone should notify. Oh, we're not doing that. Frogan's got big old titties, though. Well, yeah. I guess. I mean, that got one thing going for you. So, yes, the Führer pesos. Oh. So, Tony says I'm smoking on knowledge. Yes. Okay, so, yes, SA South African Rand sign is R. The code is ZAR. Okay. Like I said, it confused me. So. Let's see. Does Frogan show those things while wearing that headpiece, Haram? Well, she wears kind of fitting clothing, which I'm sure, you know, if she was really with people who cared would, you know, I mean, well, number 2, she's streaming. Like, why isn't she getting beat for that? But whatever. She's being very mouthy on the internet. Monica got $5 million to repair her dignity. Yeah. The odds of this being a lawsuit, looking for a better idea. I mean, it still is a lawsuit. I mean, it is what it is there. I mean, like that is what it is. I mean, we're gonna laugh certainly, but this is a lawsuit where people are gonna suffer, so it's even better. So, let's see here, guys. Also, real quick, if you guys are, since we're here and it's almost 10, it's almost to 10, and there's still no stream. We are gonna see the Iran attack thing here. Let's see. When is Trump going to address? Let's see here. We're going to pull up some of these. So, let's see if we can bring some of this up. If you guys wanted to know. Okay, so if you guys didn't know, we bombed. So apparently the White House is saying we bombed Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. So Natanz is the big one that's already been hit before. Fordow is the one that's buried in the mountainside. That was the one we needed to probably help the Israelis take out because they don't have the capability to drop the penetrators that are necessary for that. So that is likely what happened there. Natanz has stuff above ground, but a lot of stuff inside. And Isfahan also has stuff underground as well. All planes are outside of Iranian airspace. Full payload bombs were dropped. Fordow on the primary site, Fordow. Okay, well, if you guys want to, I mean, here we can. You guys don't know what Fordow is. Fordow is the Fordow nuclear facility is actually an impressive thing. You guys want to see a picture of it here. Hold on, where is... Let me see. I'm trying to show you guys, trying to find a good picture of it. Yeah. Here is a picture of the Fordow site. And this is, if you guys don't understand what you're looking at here, this is the place. And you're like, oh, look, it's like a mountainside. Yeah, it is. It's where all the centrifuges and the enrichment happens. And this building is partially underground. And then you have this, you have this, you have this, and you have that. Those are all underground sites, entrances into the site. And the site is built into the mountainside. It's probably about 20 stories underground. So that's why we had to help, because the Israelis don't have the equipment that can bomb this. They don't have the planes that can carry the bombs that can bomb that. So apparently we did that. So yeah. 4 testicles, 1 baldo. No. Willie OAM is live right now. Well, is that an AI Trump? I don't know. I don't know if the White House did that, but it would have been a bunch of B2s dropping those. Glow in the Dark says, if it's deep enough, a mop might not be enough. Yeah, well, there's 2 ways to do this. You could drop a massive ordnance penetrator and, just keep hitting it right here. Or if you're Israel, and they likely have had special forces teams and commando units made and established solely to attack this. Also, that kind of looks like a wiener. Having commando units that would insert and have to attack it like from the ground. And that would have been a very hazardous mission. They probably all would have died. So, you drop a couple of penetrators, and more importantly, if you drop the penetrators, here and here, and then you take out this building, you pretty much seal off the other place. So, I mean, it's not a bad idea. You don't have to go right here and dig through the mountainside to kill people. So, let's see. What's with the dick crop circle? That's not a crop circle. That's a revetment. of some sort. You're talking about this guy right here. Let's see. What is it? It's some sort of building, and it's got a revetment around it. It's got berms built up. Whatever this is, it's got berms built around it. Some sort of building that's got important value. I don't know what they did, but they put a wall up around it to protect it. So that's what that was all about. Squizgar says there are reports of a ground assault as well. Really? Wow. So they did send. Wow. They sent in fucking SF units. Ooh, that's impressive. That's impressive. Huh. Jamie Moody says, nope, it's still ZAR. Ooh, la daddy. Ooh, la daddy. Thank you, Jamie. And then Amateur Iconoclast for $5 says, oh, God, I don't remember how to do all the German, but like, H3H3 for me. Down in a single eek for een lead. I don't know. Something. 9 to 9 Luftballons. There, you got it. It's flat now. No, that won't be flat. They're going to hit it hard, though. Even before Rods from God. Rods from God don't exist. The amount of heavy lift capacity to put tungsten rods into orbit would be impossible. So. Yes, 90% of the workers at the plant were probably IDF at that point. All right, let's go back to this and see what's going on here. See if there's any other. Yeah, I mean, we definitely use B2s to do it. So, let's see here. Let's oh, I take that down. Let's see here. Okay. Well, we're gonna have to find where the hell was all the World War III. Okay, or here we go. I hate damn Twitter when you do that. You click on things and it doesn't work. Well, there we go. I don't know. Well, we'll have to see what's on. We'll see what's on the news right now. We'll pull up some live streams, see what we can find. Here. Search True Social Trump. I'm not worried about True Social. I want, like, more information. Intercity Pages says, I told you the B-2 bombers entered chat. Well, yes, they did. Like, nobody was doubting that they entered chat. But I figured we were going to have, like, a massive assault of everything. Especially because you could see what was that Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. Like, the entire just gaggle of B-52s. That was from the 19th. You guys haven't seen this. This was out in Saudi Arabia. This is all these things here. These are B-52s sitting on the tarmac. These big planes, like B-52, 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 boom, 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 B-52s. And then all these guys right here are fighter planes. F-15s, F-22s, F-35s. Right here, there's a bunch of them too. Like, we got ready to go do some work. So, Jews went down from a DDoS attack. Wow. Yeah. Andrew's saying, those are the KC-135s. Are you sure? I think a bunch of B-52s got sent. Versus the F-14s. Well, the F-14s are gone. Those got destroyed at Merabat Airport. The Israelis blew those up because they're evil. Are you sure those are? Are those all the tankers? Okay. Oh, I thought they were the B-52s. Okay, tankers then instead. I will take your word on that, Andrew. KC-135s. More importantly, those are a lot of tankers to have in one place. That's a big sign. Iran has no air power. Yeah, this is a situation of not air supremacy, but air dominance. The Israelis have been flying the skies unopposed for a while now. So let's see what's going on YouTube though, real quick. Okay, let's see here. Hold on, chat. I'm trying to. Let me see here. CNN Live. It's all live right now. You know, I'll use right side broadcast. It's what's available. So we'll use this. When it's time. You just DM me 20 or so links. Okay, thank you. I'll pull them up. Oh. So hold on. Associated. Here we go. All right, chat. Here we go. So we'll see what happens here. We'll see what happens. I need to fix my. It's funny. I got the big nuclear explosion as a thumbnail, so I could just change the title for a minute to like Trump. We attack Iran. So that makes it easy. See, I thought they were going to do it last night. I did not think this was going to happen today. All right. Well, here we go. So I had to change the title. Maybe we'll get more people to show up in here. Got a grift, chat. Do they not bring the flag down at night? As long as it's illuminated, you don't have to. You don't have to do it. Any guesses on what Ethan will sue? How Ethan will sue for? Winning these would embolden him to sue Hasan later. Yeah, I mean that's what I think ultimately. Or he wants to go after the people who did the CPS shit. I mean, like he wants to fight. I think he wants to fight, and you know, for him, this is a reckoning. This is not for Ethan. This is a reckoning right now. So I understand why he was doing this. I mean, he wants to collect scalps, and right now he's in a scalp hunting mode. What does Ja Rule think about this? I don't know. Is Iran crashing out? No. I don't know. Probably. I mean, whoever's left in Iran. Agenda Free TV, yeah. I'm not in favor of starting another forever operation too. I know. I hope. Fuck it. You know, like that's my biggest fear. I don't want another forever war. I don't want a nation build. Let them handle their own fucking problems. Just wait until Brazil gets involved. Oh. They used special forces to sabotage air defense. Well, that's a typical thing. You know, sending in SF units to go after SOF guys to take out air defenses, that's one thing. To send in a bunch of commandos to go wipe out a nuclear centrifuge site in a hillside is like that's like Guns of Navarone level of shit. Or where Eagles Dare. God, you guys probably most of you don't know what those are, so yeah. The Saudi government's got to be very happy tonight if the Iranians got schwacked this hard. It shouldn't be Iran doesn't have any oil. No, but they control the Straits of Hormuz. Russia has said Iran is on its own. Well, Russia wasn't going to be able to do shit anyway. Iran was the one supplying Russia with, you know, the intermediate range missiles, like the medium range ballistic missiles that they've been chucking into Ukraine. They've been, even though Russia's making their own Iran drones, Iran still supplies them with a ton of equipment. And a lot of that shit got knocked out. So Russia's on its own right now. That's the bigger issue. So what the fuck is an air defense going to do against the B-2? Well, it's not just the B-2. Like, there's going to be all kinds of stuff operating in that environment. But also remember, a stealth fighter the F-117 got shot down. I mean, these things are not completely invisible. Like, they are still dangerous. You still take them out. But it's not just the B-2s. There's going to be like F-35s and F-15s and F-16s. You know, stuff that needs a lot of help getting through as part of a strike package. So that's why they're doing that. You still take out the air defenses. I mean, if you might have to send in airplanes, like helicopters, if somebody gets shot down. Well, guess what? You need to make sure the road's clear. So you have to plow the road anyway. Alistair McLean's finest. So, yes. One of Clint Eastwood's first major movie, Where Eagles Dare. Yes. Will this benefit our children? You have no idea what I'm talking about. Well, yeah, Iran has a ton of oil, yes. Well, the bigger problem for Iran is what's going to happen if the Iranian government falls, because we've got a lot of problems. Like, a quarter of Iran's population is ethnically Azeri, and the Azeris kind of want to do a greater Azerbaijan thing. Like, they're all about that life. So there's a lot of issues about what's going to happen to Iran and what's that going to do. And if Azerbaijan starts doing shit like that, you know, is Turkey going to help them? Because the Turks and the Azeris, believe it or not, are Turkic peoples. They're kind of like cousins. And guess who's in the middle? The Armenians, which, oh, buddy. I mean, especially like if the Azeris basically gobble up the entire like northern border of Iran. Like, ooh, man. That is not good. There's a lot of problems that are going to come out of this. You've got problems in Pakistan and Afghanistan because you have Baluchistan. The Baluch people who live in eastern Iran, western Pakistan, and southern Afghanistan, they've been getting really uppity lately. They've been increasing their paramilitary activities and their insurgent forces. So, like, Iran could easily disintegrate. Iran has a lot of ethnic groups, and it could disintegrate very, very fast. What about I'm Blackistan? Yeah, it could be. There are also 15 million Afghan refugees there. Yeah. Iran doesn't have OnlyFans. Yeah, they're the good guys. They're closer than cousins, I know, but like, yes, they're Turkic peoples, and if there was a pan-Turkic nation, the Azeris and the Turks would be on that. That's why, you know, Turkey, you know, is, yeah. Anyways, yeah. I voted for no war too. I did also, but it happened. So I mean, like, there we go. Fell for it again, chat. We're putting in a new Shah. Yeah, well, the Shah has been in Paris talking up the people to rebel. So let's see here. This is a boop, not war. I mean, yeah, a little bit, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see. No matter who you vote for, you get John McCain. That's a sad part about it. Chat. So. I've never seen this part before. This makes me a little worried. Uh-oh. It's like those channels that make the emergency action messages and stuff. Like, uh-oh, what's going on? Uh-oh. There we go. We'll just keep it at a little dull roar. That tone is annoying. It's happening, chat. Of happenings! I'll give you guys all tinnitus. There, we're going to keep it real low. If Trump didn't do this, 9/11 would have happened. Bella, I don't disagree Iran should not have a nuke, but I think we've also been to the point of, since 2004, Iran has been 2 weeks away from having a nuke since 2004. So, that's the problem. This has been something that's going on forever. John McCain died masturbating over this idea of this happening. So, you always get the Federal Reserve, yes. Nick says, so many accounts on X think the strike on the nuclear program is wrong. Well, Nick, a lot of us are worried we're going to end up nation building again and doing the whole Iraq war thing over again. Or Afghanistan all over again. We're like, we're not really fond of that. We just got done dealing with it. Jesus Love You says, they hit the towers, Sar! He's camping, says, if it's war, I'm off the Trump train. I understand. Yes, the idea that Reza Pahlavi is going to right into Iran is fanciful. Yeah, the Shah's not going back. Will this be live? Yes. Yes, this will be live. Nothing ever happens, except it sounds like shit did happen. It sounds like stuff happened. There probably will be. The Iranians do have sleeper cells in America. Who knows how many they have? Hezbollah has sleeper cells in America. Something will happen. So just be frosty. Strap up, chat. You know, if you need to, just you know, if you got to take care of your business, right behind you, get something like that. Or if you really need to, you know, just a little, you know, take care of yourself. So just saying. Just saying. There we go. So let's see where we're at. We forgot to inform you that Iran enrizzed all the uranium. Yes, 2 more weeks. No, since the 90s. Yeah, well, it was as things, you know, we had the axis of evil stuff. Why is Turkey in NATO? Because Turkey was important to stop Russia in the Black Sea because it kept them out of the Mediterranean. But it was also critical. Turkey was a counterbalance to Russia interfering in the Levant and the Middle East. It was a counterbalance to that. Now, I mean, at the end of the day, Hafez al-Assad, Bashar al-Assad's dad, when he took over in a coup, settled up to the Russians very quickly in the 50s. And, you know, Syria's been a Russian ally ever since, until now. So Turkey was a counterbalance for a lot of things. It also kept Russia right off of Greece's doorstep. Greece had a lot of problems. Greece had a massive civil war after World War II. Like, the communists were, like, very powerful in Greece. Like, there was a fucking no shit civil war, like, fucking Serbia level of, like, violence. It was a brutal civil war, putting down the commies. So we don't want the Russians right on the doorstep of the commies infiltrating into Greece. And then, you know, Yugoslavia is right there in Albania. Like, we had some reasons to want to protect Greece. And, you know, once again, it keeps the Russians bottled up in the Black Sea, keeps them out of the Med, keeps them from the Suez really a lot. I mean, there were multiple reasons. Containment, as part of George Kennan's strategy. Containment was the name of the game. You tried to box them in wherever you could. So AOC wants Trump impeached. Well, yeah. So Greece also had a war with Turkey. Yes, they fought over Cyprus. Yes. Okay, here we go. Here we go, chat. We'll turn it up. This is fucking serious. Here we go. Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Thank you very much. A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say, we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, all right. Well, I guess, chat, we can all say it collectively. Oy vey. Is that it? Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Oh, God. Yes. We love our cops. We love our law enforcement. We love our military. They're so important. Oh, God. That's what I thought he was going to say for a second. Yes. Brought to you by APAC. Oh, my God. Marco Rubio is short. Of course he is, Melanie. That's why they call him Little Marco. Trump wasn't joking. He's Little Marco. Guy has lifts. He wouldn't be like if he wasn't tall, if he wasn't little, you couldn't call him Little Marco. We were sold out. I mean, when it's not the Israelis whispering in his ear, it's the boomer cons whispering in his ear. So, and when it's half the time, they're both whispering into his ear. So, congratulations on getting in a new war. Yeah, it sounds like it, chat. Sounds like Battlefield 3 is going to be a thing now. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Oi, Gavalt. Yes, hi, no. Netanyahu must be thrilled with the massive dick sucking. Well, compared to every other day, because that's what happens every other day. Nice podcast, stupid. Dan, how you doing? It's been a team member been a member for 4 months. Thanks, Dan. Says Team America, the world police is back in full force. Yeah, I guess. Tech Guy South says, suffer, Sean's chat. Yes, we all have to suffer. And cope and seethe. Oh. Lone Alaska says, sucks to be young and in shape right now, yeah. Not sure how dropping bombs means we're committed to a war. This is how it starts. If we can limit it, fine, but how has things gone with U.S. foreign policy every time? Little bit. It just keeps on going, just up. And we keep adding on until we're balls deep. So, go on with Watcher and Joe Dolio. I might in a minute, but plus his boomer cons are 35. Well, he's got boomer cons in his cabinet and advisors. He does have boomer cons out there. Should we call you Little Sean? Sure, if you want to. I just want to save the Tomcats. Well, the Tomcats and the Phantoms, they're all gone. They're all gone, chat. Bella says there will always be a need for world police. I agree. If you want to chicken out, fine. But you better pray your new overlords let you have the pampered life you're used to. I just don't think the Iranians were able to do whatever it was they think they were going to fucking do. I mean, once again, Iran's been 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon since 2004. You missed Netanyahu. Where did he give a speech? Where did he give a speech? Because I'll watch that if he laughs at us. When will Trump release the Ricada body cams? I don't know. Oh. So some comments here. KRM says, Oy vey, APAC worked, yes. Yeah, thank Israel, you fucking Muppet, yes. Michael Boyle says, many Sunni terror attacks. I cannot think of any Shia terrorist attacks. The Marine barracks bombings in Beirut. The Iranians, through the Quds Force, have done a lot of dirty tricks over the years. And have caused a lot of problems, so they have had their hands dirty. The Quds Force is a bunch of bad people. But thank you, Michael, for 14 months. I appreciate it. Cato says, what if Iran actually has a secret a second nuclear facility, a secret one, underneath the first one? See, I wouldn't have ever thought they would do that. You know, that's why. Thinking big. Squizgar says, excuse me, Sean, but I was specifically told nothing was going to happen. Why is something happening? Fair enough. Stephen Cooper says, do you think the SEALs will leave another Air Force combat controller in this war? Ooh. You know, that's really spicy, and that really cuts deep. Hopefully not. And will that combat controller then win a Medal of Honor after he gets abandoned to a mountainside full of insurgents as he starts killing everyone? No, I don't know. And guys, if you don't know what he's talking about, he is talking about the story of Roberts Ridge in Afghanistan. And it's a story of John Chapman, who was an Air Force combat controller. He got abandoned. The SEALs thought he was dead, so they left him on the hillside. And remember, we don't leave men behind. Well, sometimes you do. They left him behind. They thought he was dead. And a Predator drone was flying above this hillside as he woke up because he was unconscious. And he was left all alone on a hillside and fucking killed a ton of dudes before they killed him. A bunch of Taliban fighters and Al-Qaeda fighters. He won the Medal of Honor for that after he got abandoned. So, yeah. Johan says, Trump is losing me. God bless the tribe. No, dog, I'm out on that one. Well, yeah. What's our response, Bricks Bros? Oh. On Fox News? All right, I'll go to Fox News then real quick. Robin says he was not dead. He wasn't dead, but they left him for dead. They chickened out and bailed on him. They claimed he was dead. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh, Netanyahu's. Here we go. Okay. All right, hold on, chat. Here we go. All right. You guys ready for this? Here we go. Here is Netanyahu.
Congratulations, President Trump. Your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States will change history. In Operation Rising Lion, Israel has done truly amazing things. But in tonight's action against Iran's nuclear facilities, America has been truly unsurpassed. It has done what no other country on earth could do. History will record that President Trump acted to deny the world's most dangerous regime the world's most dangerous weapons. His leadership today has created a pivot of history that can help lead the Middle East and beyond to a future of prosperity and peace. President Trump and I often say, peace through strength. First comes strength, then comes peace. And tonight, President Trump and the United States acted with a lot of strength. President Trump, I thank you. The people of Israel thank you. The forces of civilization thank you. God bless America. God bless Israel. And may God bless our unshakable alliance, our unbreakable faith.
Okay, so there you have it. That was the message.
Well, chat, there you go. That reads off like somebody who wins an award at an awards show. The way Netanyahu did that. Like, what the fuck is all that about? Oh, Stephen Cooper dropping the mops. Yeah. Another L for Sokol Trump. Yes. Tuckek says, great stream tonight. Well, thank you. Not sure is a new member. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Oh. Yeah, that's a little rough. He's basically congratulating. Thank you for being the strong bulls, taking care of our problems for us. President-elect Phil Swift says, Jarvis, send another $100 billion to Ukraine as well. Pretty much. That's pretty much where we're at. Leftists will call Trump anti-Semitic. That's going to be a little hard. Six bunker busters were used on Ford Out. I mean, God, they probably smoked every opening on that. So, globalism W, pretty much. Pretty much, chat. Oh, you obviously had no idea what Trump's foreign policy is. He's been remarkably consistent. Yeah, but he never did any of this shit the last time. He just blew up the Iran deal. He didn't bother doing anything else. So, you know, he hasn't really been that consistent because half the time his foreign policy is leaving areas and the military fucking ignores him. So, yeah. We thank you for that $30 billion super chat, America. And that's the thing. If this turns out to be that and this is it, okay, great. I have the feeling this is not going to be it. We are going to do all kinds of shit. KBR, like, I can't wait till there's all kinds of shit going on rebuilding Iran. Oh. So. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, and I understand Iran can't have nuclear weapons. I can't believe Iran's having nuclear weapons. Remember, the intelligence community said they've been doing it forever and they haven't been able to do it. So I don't trust the intelligence assessments. So, yeah, oh, that's nice. Yes, God blessed America. Yes. So. Yes, Israel's like, thank you. Thank you, brave little boys, helping us. Yeah, they definitely don't know. I understand. Yet North Korea managed. Well, yeah. Saddam also had WMDs. Yes, the same people. The same people. Tom Bombathil says, no one could argue that we are not owned by Israel now. Well, I don't think anybody really thought we weren't. I didn't think anybody really thought we weren't. I mean, if we're going to be honest. Great Loner says the Ford Owl was the nice appetizer for the B2, but she needs the main course of the Three Gorges Dam. See, now that's something I'd actually support destroying. The Three Gorges Dam wiping out over 50% of China's industrial capacity and also wiping out 500 million Chinamen. That would be the Kino move. You want to do a pro gamer move? Destroy the Three Gorges Dam. Jefferson Post says USA rails Iran while BB talks about redo of Healer. God almighty, you know what? When you're right, you're right. Oof. Chugi Show says, I don't want this, but if it happens, I want troops to kick butt because hopefully that means a few of our troops are lost. Massey said what he did was unconstitutional. Trump has up to 60 days to notify Congress of anything under the War Powers Act. So everything Trump did is perfectly legal. Congress has already allowed him to do it. So Taylor Cook says, Iran gets their nukes racked. Oh, well, I remember when North Korea didn't have nukes. Remember, there isn't a civil use for highly enriched uranium. I agree, but yeah, I agree, but that's been there, done that. Says just heard Iran is now 2 weeks out from a nuke for reals now. Fuck you, Monkey says, I don't care if some litterbox nation has nukes. 93% of their missile delivery systems get shot down by Israel. Their ability to get a nuke here is bullshit. I agree. But it is what it is, chat. We just got to vote harder next time. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Job well done says Iran is a terrorist state, so the AMF is still in play. The authorization on the use of military force, you can justify anything. Trump could start dropping JDAMs on the cartel right now with the AUMF. The AMF is basically a blank check. Hmm. Did I see the Tucker interview? No. Tuck says Iran has ICBMs. When? Where? I mean, the reason, like, you would demonstrate your ICBMs by putting satellites into orbit, because that's how you establish you have a rocket program, and they don't really have one. They have like intermediate and like theater range missiles and like a lot of Scud level stuff, but they don't have ICBMs like North Korea does, or China, or any of the other nuclear powers do. Although, to be fair, Britain doesn't have them either, because they lease them from us because they can't build their own fucking nuclear missiles. They've never been able to do it. If you guys didn't know that, yes, the entire Polaris missile fleet and Trident fleet is rented from the United States. Royce says, we're not owned by Israel. Qatar and Saudi Arabia pay you way more, and they don't run you either. Oh, let's see here. If you listen to Tucker for anything but an Islamic opinion, you're easily fooled. I didn't listen to his Ted Cruz thing, but I heard it was kind of cringe. I didn't get a chance to listen to it. Stock up on gas. Gas prices will be up by the morning. Yep. Yeah, guys, we're going to go on Flashcast in a little bit. I am definitely going to go ahead and probably get gas after Flashcast is over. Three Gorges Dam shouldn't take much since structural integrity is an issue in China. Yeah. It'll also wipe out Shanghai on the positive side. They put 3 satellites in orbit already. Isn't Iran China's biggest crude oil source? Yes. Let's see here. Some reports they bombed the bunker. Well, we'll see, because eventually the satellites will show us. Let's see. It says that's a joke. Yeah, no, it's really true. The nuclear missiles in the British submarines, those are the only nukes they have left. We own them. And we maintain them for them and do all kinds of shit for them. They lease them from us. They lease their own nukes. We're the blockbusters of ICBMs. Oh. Nozaku says, I don't get the rage over this. As long as it stays here, I'm okay with it. I don't trust the government not to go balls deep into Iran soon. That's the problem. It's because it's not just Trump, it's the administration, it's the bureaucracy. Like, the entire establishment is about wanting to go to war. So I don't trust them. So that's yeah. So his Ted Cruz thing was cringe. I don't know. I heard it was. I didn't see it, so I don't know what happened. If you really cared, you want Trump in office to do instead of waiting on a Democrat to get elected, screw it up. Yeah, that's fine. I get it. Is this going to stop here? If it stops here, fine. I don't trust it to stop here. Well, I have to go on with Flash. I already agreed to go on, so. Odds on these B-2 pilots have done a flyover at Arrowhead Stadium? Probably a lot. Yes, Iran's probably going to get an injunction. He's probably going to get a court order to have Trump stop attacking them. So. Yes. Oh, let's see here. Well, I'm trying to catch up to you guys. You don't have to do shit. Yeah, I do. I agreed. Somebody asked me to come on earlier today. I definitely told them I would. So I keep my obligations. If somebody asks me to be there, I'll be there. Ted Cruz said, if you don't support the Jews and don't stand with Israel, I don't stand with you. Okay, well, yeah. Tell him you're sick. No, I wouldn't lie to him like that. Flash is a nice enough guy. So. So, what do you mean tweet? Tweet? Like tweet? You have no problem super late, so be super late. Well, Flash is never on time anyway. Muzzy Skeleton for $10, 10 months says, can you feel the love tonight? Oh, Ted Cruz can be out the first landing craft, yeah. Why are they complaining about Flash? I don't know, because they're being whiners. I don't know what they're complaining about. Tell Flash you're sick and then show up anyway. So. Like I said, we'll see what happens. Are we going to go to war or not? That's really the critical issue for me. Can we start a chess club? I mean, I'm not very good at chess, so. Sean, they're in the Situation Room. They're currently discussing rehoming Iran. So that's funny. I got dangerously close to Fed posting in chat. Do I dye my stash? No. I mean, look at it. You could see all along here a bunch of white hairs. No, and I don't dye like this stuff right here or this stuff right here. That's just how it grows. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, guys. Very interesting times. Very interesting times that we live in, indeed. Like I said, if they just stay like this, I'm happy, but I'm very pensive. I'm very pensive that this doesn't keep expanding. That's the thing. Or Ron says Chris Benoit to the White House. It's not my birthday. Oh, you were just joking. Oh, well, I was just. So. All right, guys. Well, I mean, that is it for now. I guess, things have happened. I am going to get ready to go on with Flash. He wants to talk about Ethan Kline and the lawsuit here. So we are going to wrap this up. Wasn't Stuxnet was our idea. We did Stuxnet, not the Israelis. We did Stuxnet. Yeah, we set it back a long time. So, yes, Richard Gruber with the nice AK magazine drum is saying, Kirsha and Jim are streaming tomorrow. It's going to be great. So, yeah, the neocons are jerking off tonight. They will be. So, all right, guys, with that said, thank you all for being here. What do I think is going to happen to Destiny? Ethan Kline. I think he's got a good lawsuit. I mean, it'll survive. It will survive. He'll get past summary judgment, and then I think he wants to get into discovery. I think it's his ultimate goal. So, yeah, John Bolton now supports Trump all over again. So, but with that said, chat, remember until next time, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. Unless you're Denims and you fucking talk about this shit like a retard openly. So, why Destiny? Because I was reading about what's going on in Destiny's case lately. We got to do a video on that too coming up. So, with that said, though, chat, you guys have a great night, and I will see you guys soon. Take care, and good night, chat.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes. esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy that Kaden yelled at? Why, yes it was.